Yo, 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 yo. We are back in these streets. Big game, James. You know what it is. And this ain't even no like new stuff. This ain't no low beginning stuff. This ain't nothing like that. But I said, man, you know what? It been a long time. Been a long time. Been a long time since like the beginning of the ages time. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Got my
yeah.
dog done got blown up and got all big, did all kind of things. You feel what I'm saying? But I said, man, it's time for us to do a show and just talk about some football, whatever the hell. But I got my dog on here, Mr. J Tuck. What's up with you,
Hey,
dog?
what up, dog, man? Hey, thanks for having me, man. But before we start, bro, I gotta tell everybody, a lot of what y'all see today when it comes to J Tuck, it's Big Game James's fault. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I first came into this game as a content creator. I was trying to take the subtle approach and say all the right things, and just be politically correct. And Big said, "Nah, hell no, you better turn up, man, and speak your truth, dog. Like you ain't got to be all polite and PC." He's like, "Man, we want that real. We want." I said, "Oh, you could do that? You could do that here?" And he was like, "Hell yeah, dog. Turn up and speak your truth." And ever since then, man, I've been doing that, man. So I'm extremely thankful for you, dog, for always believing in me from the jump, putting that battery in my back to be myself, man. And now I'm the problem. So now I'm the problem child. But a lot of y'all should be blaming Big Game James for that because he started this whole thing. Say I was going to be very PC, Tuck, very reporter, and just say all the right things. And, it's his fault, dog.
Well, hey, I love it. You know what I'm saying? We got to speak them truths because the
Right,
truth is just the best thing for it to happen. Might not be the popular thing, might not be what
right,
thing a lot of people want to hear, but it's still what is the real that's coming outside of you, and I can't tell it no other way. And I
right,
appreciate the real ones out there. And not saying I ain't gonna bring no real people on my channel, but
right.
you're probably not gonna be on here if you bring down that BS. You're probably not gonna be on here, but I'm
Right.
glad you're on here, dog. I'm glad to see how much you're doing for real. Seeing you from the very beginning, like for real, like
Hmm.
I really seen you from the very beginning, and to
Right.
see how it's all kind of just shot up. All the things you've been doing with Dez, just everything you've been doing with Kansas City, even when you was doing with Darren Smith, just everything that just kind of draft box everything. You've just been a jack of all trades and you've been a master of them. So I'm just really happy to see you've been
Appreciate it.
doing the great things. But we're gonna talk a little bit of Cowboys football, dog, because
Yeah.
it's a different vibe out there now. We know what the vibe is. You know what I'm saying. George Pickens. You know what I'm saying. Shoddy, everybody's kumbaya. We've been talking about that. Everything's all happy and lovely. Mini camp,
Hmm.
everybody doing catching balls behind their back, doing everything. Everything is beautiful right now in
Right.
Cowboys land, except contract. We know about that. But what's your just thoughts as a whole of what we talked about the new culture, but just what's your thoughts of the whole about the Cowboys right now today? What's your thoughts about the Cowboys?
Yeah, man. I feel like the energy is good, and I know a lot of people talk about Brian Schottenheimer and the culture, but I talked to a few players behind the scenes, and this brotherhood that we're hearing a lot big is like it's something that the players wanted. So I'm not really sure of what was going on, but there's a deeper connection when it comes to not only the players but also the coaching staff. I think that Schottenheimer's done a great job by hiring some youth when it comes to coaching staff and Coach Adams, Coach Riley out of Kansas State, who I'm very familiar with. You got Clayton Adams, so even Matt Eberflus, because we knew it was kind of like Mike McCarthy was set in his old ways. Then you had Zim, who's kind of set in his old ways. So they really probably didn't connect the way that Brian Schottenheimer's able to connect with these players. So you're seeing a new energy. That's what I really like, right? And I really to see it translate. Now, of course, it has to translate. You can play all the ping pong games you can and paintballing, but if you getting whooped on that field, nobody's
Mm-hmm.
going to care. Because what I'm trying to explain to Cowboys fans, I get the brotherhood stuff, the culture changes are good for Dallas, but you're hearing culture big in every brand new coaching hire, right?
Yep. Right.
Chicago's changing the coach. You hear what's going on the Jets. It's a culture like you're hearing that, right? So we have to be able to distinguish the difference between real change and just new car smell, right? And I feel like sometimes some of the stuff is new car smell, but there are some things that gets me excited from a Cowboys perspective that I think is going to translate in the football field, but we have to wait and see once we put those pads on.
How do you feel about Shoddy?
Um, I feel good about Shoddy. Did I like the way they went about the hire? Absolutely not, right? I felt like they drug their feet once again, like they did with Dan Quinn last year with Mike McCarthy, wanted to bring him back. Difference of contract, length terms, didn't get the deal done for whatever reason. I guess coaching salaries big goes towards the cap for, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why they didn't get the deal done. If McCarthy was your guy, go get your guy. And I felt like they kind of waited, but I felt like they may have tripped and fell where Shoddy might be a Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys, where they really try to go some other options, but they might get lucky with the hell of a coach. Now, what I'm trying to prep Cowboys fans for is you got to be patient, right? I know a lot of people think, oh, he's going to be Sean McVay right now. I don't think that's going to be the case. So if you're going to tell me you're going to give Shoddy 3 to 4 years to really build this thing in his image, then I'm all pro Shoddy, right? But if you're talking about an instant impact, instant boost above Mike McCarthy, I think that Dallas Cowboys fans might want to temper their expectations because there's going to be that learning curve. There's going to be them games where we come on post game, be like, man, what the hell was he doing? Well, what the hell was he thinking? It's just going to be part of the job. So, I think that they did a real good job of surrounding him with good quality guys. But what I was trying to explain to people is that this is kind of like, I know we're not supposed to talk about them in Cowboys country. This is our Nick Sirianni hire, right? Think about it when they replaced Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach, old quarterback, kind of set in his ways, was kind of an unproven guy with Nick Sirianni. At first, Nick Sirianni took his lumps, right? He just wasn't, but they figured out, okay, he has the energy. He can connect with these players. He can embrace the city of Philadelphia. Let's put these pieces around him. And I feel like from a staff perspective, they're doing that with Shoddy. The one missing piece that they do with Nick versus Shoddy is they give him abundance of talents where it's damn near impossible for him to fail. So I feel like if we can kind of get to that point where this organization and front office really rallies behind Shoddy, we might have us one hell of a coach.
Saying that's what I've been saying. Hey, from day one is what the situation with Shoddy is. I've been comparing to Nick Sirianni from day one because I looked how Sirianni came up and how he came in up in the system and how I mean he was with over there with Eberflus. They already have a known of each other, but Sirianni wasn't the glamour hire. He wasn't
Right.
Nick Sirianni this and that. I think it was somebody more that he was more of their guy. He embedded what they believe, and it was more like they felt more homegrown, like he is going to adapt to this and he's going to wear this culture. And because of that, it's not the hire that everybody loves, but because of that, and because I feel like they felt like he's our dude that we picked. We're gonna make sure you don't fail. We're gonna go get
Right.
you AJ Brown. We're gonna get you this. We're gonna get you that. We're gonna make sure everything possible not to make
Right.
you fail. And this is the situation, just like you just said. I feel like it's in Dallas because yeah, we don't like how the hire was. We don't like how you just went through a couple people and oh, here you go again, just doing it this way. But you lucked up and may have had a real one, and you lucked up this way because he is going to embed what I feel a lot of us have wanted. A lot of us have wanted, I think, more realness, more man. Can we get a coach that's just like not like a Jason Garrett who's robotic? Mike
Right.
McCarthy, he talked, but bro, I'm gonna just keep it real. Like McCarthy talked, but it was like, bro, you was like mad paranoid. Like you could see it when he talked. Like you're like
Right.
mad paranoid about a lot of things. I
Mhm.
just feel like Shotty ain't gonna come in here perfect, but that type of way you talk to players and it's not football, and I don't believe this is
Mhm.
for show.
Mhm.
That's what I don't believe because a
Right.
lot of these guys do this shit because the cameras is on, the TV is on. Hey, come on, guys, you know how it is. Hey, come
Right.
on, guys,
Right. Right.
smacking on guys' hand. Hey, come on, guys. That's what I'm talking about. And they get their ass kicked the next game, and then the
Right.
5-game lose streak, and the next thing you know, they fired.
Right.
I really believe this is real Libra gang. I keep telling y'all about Libra gang. I, I keep telling y'all about this Libra gang, but I believe this is really real, and I feel like this is what Dallas needed.
Mhm.
I don't know if McCarthy really did it on this level because McCarthy usually gave it to his leaders. I'm gonna do this, and y'all do that, and then we'll just come in the middle. I
Right.
feel like Schottenheimer is there in the trenches.
Mhm.
He's there with them. I really
Right.
do care about what you're doing outside of football. I ain't tripping on this. I really do care. And I
Right.
feel like when you get that genuineness from your coach, the players start wanting to play for you. And when
Mm-hmm.
the players start wanting to play for you, because these are high priced players, it's hard to get a locker room dog in. You know this, Tuck. It
Right.
ain't easy to come in and get no locker room and have dudes start believing in you. It
Right.
ain't easy. So when you can get them guys behind you and start believing in you, I just feel like it'll carry the team in ways. I want to see how you feel about this. When you're playing them tough teams and you don't have the false start when it's 3rd and 2, now it's 3rd and 7, you get a sack, you got to punt. Or
Mm-hmm.
they bake the coverage and there's a misassignment, or you're not coming in, you're not supposed to do what you're supposed to do. I think when you have this bonding and it's real, those type of things get eliminated in those tough games and you win those games.
Yeah, 1000%. And the one thing that, you kind of been hearing with these players in the locker room is that they're tearing down the walls. And even Dak spoke about it. Because you think about this, Big, we really had this already in Dallas with Dan Quinn, but Dan Quinn was just doing that with the defense. You know what I'm saying? Dan
Right.
Quinn wasn't interacting with CD and Ferg. Like that's your side over there, but this is my side. And we saw Dan Quinn in the boxing ring with, with Micah and them, and, hat backwards, and doing drills, being hands-on approach, but that was just the defense. I feel like what Shotty is doing is tearing those walls down. Where low, I'm going to interact with the offense and I'm going to interact with the defense. I'm going to have lunch with Dak, but I'm also going to have lunch with Wanye. Like everybody is starting to feel like they're a part of this team, and I think, like you said, they're going to be able to rally. And I don't think it's for show either. I know some people say, okay, it feels like it's for show. The reason why I don't feel like it's for show, Big, is because I pulled up videos of like Junior Adams, our wide receiver coach. He was saying the same thing in Oregon. He's like, I got to get to know
Mm-hmm.
my guys. You know what I'm saying? So he went and got guys in his image. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people in the community has been preaching one band, one sound. I feel like that is the exciting part when it comes to Dallas Cowboys. Is it's not just, Mike wasn't no running guy. Like he didn't like to run the ball, you know what I'm saying? But Shotty's DNA was run the ball. And then you had Mike and you had Kellen at opposite ends of the spectrum. And then, Jerry and Steven were at odds with Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy wasn't really connecting with Will McClay on different, you know what I'm saying? So it was all these different petty wars going on in Dallas that overall impacted this team. Now, I still think this team, like Mike McCarthy, they played hard for Mike McCarthy, but it's a different type, right? We've all kind of had managers where it's just work only, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
different when you have a manager say, "Hey, man, I saw your daughter graduated." You know what I'm saying? Congratulate! Like, oh, you remembered that I told you
Right.
that 3 weeks ago that my daughter was graduating. So it's those little things that goes a long way, that I feel like that is what Brian Schottenheimer's focused on, versus Mike McCarthy's like, bro, they trying to fire me. You know what I'm saying? They trying to do all this stuff. I just got to focus on football. So only Dak and Cooper Rush, y'all can come meet my family. You know what I'm saying? But everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just focus on y'all coaching staff. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest difference. And I think it's going to translate on the field. Now, will it mean Super Bowl and all this? Absolutely
Right.
not. But I think you're going to see it where if offense is slacking, you might see Micah Parsons walk on that sideline and tell Tyler Guyton to get his shit together. You know what I'm saying? Versus let the offensive guys handle the offensive guys and I'll handle the defense. No, it needs to intertwine.
Yeah. And also, I'm glad that I just feel like Shotty's just putting that imprint of the last part that you're saying is that there's the leadership is going to be more vocal, in my opinion. There's going to be more talking. There's going to be more
Mm-hmm.
vocalization.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to understand where they stand. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where I didn't see that with prior coaching. People down there's going to be have real conversations. Real
Mm-hmm.
conversations understand where real things happen. Where real conversations happen, then I feel like you get beyond the emotions of it, and then you get down to the business of it, and then
Right.
you stay on one mind. If people can
Mm-hmm.
understand where I'm coming from when I say that. But
Right.
all right, so we got Shotty in here. Everybody's excited about that. I ain't talking about no contracts because that ain't got nothing to do with nothing right now. Because
Right.
honestly, he's going to get signed. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And we just know it's not like we haven't seen this before with the other players with this Michael
Right.
Parsons thing. We've seen this before. So I'm tired of talking about it. So I don't want to talk about that. What I
Mm-hmm.
do want to talk about is coaching staff per the players. So like the offensive side of the ball. Where do you think you got this Clayton Adams, right? I just
Mm-hmm.
made a video of the big three. I think Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe are going to be nasty. I,
Mm-hmm.
I really believe Tyler Guyton is really in it. I said maturity is going to have to be his thing. And then, I looked at a video where he was saying he didn't play offensive tackle. He didn't play no offense in high school. And
Right.
then didn't get to it. And then you come
Right.
into college playing left, bro. Come on.
Right.
You
Yep.
know what I'm
They put him,
saying?
they set
We,
that kid up to fail, which I was
we
trying to explain. Like he's
what,
never played left tackle ever. He played defensive
ever,
and played defense in high school. Then he
all high
played
school.
tight end at TCU, and then he played right tackle at TCU. It's like, you know what? Not only are you going to play left tackle, you're going to place Tyron Smith, and we're not going to get a quality veteran behind you. Have at it, kid. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a horrible situation to put this kid in. So the one thing I'm excited about it big when it comes to Tyler Guyton is I see his confidence starting to come back up. Like, hey, bro, like I get it. You had the
Do you
worst
have,
rookie season,
not to cut
right?
you off? Do you think that has to do with not only maybe Schottenheimer, but do you have to do with Clayton Adams because we've been hearing so many great things about him? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of Schottenheimer, Clayton Adams, but also Coach Connor Riley, right? I feel like
Okay.
Coach Connor Riley coming out of Kansas State, like he worked with Cooper Beebe, like his
Mm-hmm.
offensive line. I did a video on him probably 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like everywhere he went big, his
Mm-hmm.
offensive line was a unit, right? So there's the
Okay.
different teachings, different energy. Like I personally wasn't a fan of Mike Solari, but that was one of my biggest knocks when it came to Mike McCarthy. He'll get your homeboy a job. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you Mike McCarthy's homeboy, he'll give you a job. But it's like for me, I feel like Connor Riley, also with Big Duke, kind of still taking ownership with Tyler Guyton. You just need that confidence. You need someone to say, okay, last year happened, bro. It was okay. Let's fix it. Let's find out what we can really work on and give him a full off season to focus on left tackle. I mean, from the moment he got drafted, in April, it's just like, okay, now you got to learn a brand new position. I mean, we did the same thing with Cooper Beebe. Luckily, he hit the ground kind of running, but he had a slow learning
Mm-hmm.
curve. So it's like, and then Tyler Guyton got benched in the middle of the season. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, reset, get this kid's confidence back up. But I think Coach Connor Riley and also Clayton Adams, and if the Cowboys are who they've been saying they are, any offensive lineman will agree. I see my dog Lou in the building. When you
Mm-hmm.
get that run game going, that's what gets you going as an offensive lineman. I know a lot of people don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Believe me, I was a left tackle. You know what I'm saying? When we got that run game going, it gets you the momentum versus sitting back, pass setting 45 attempts. So I think that you will see a massive leap when it comes to Tyler Guyton. But we still should go get an insurance policy.
Yeah. Well, here's my question to that. You said still should get an insurance policy. Now I just pulled up the lineup here that they have. Sorry, you see all this Best Buy stuff. I don't give a hell. But I'm pulling up this lineup, and it's got a lot of the guys that the Cowboys did pick up. Now
Mhm.
Dallas got some guys that you ain't excited about. But if you're talking about Tyler Guyton at the left tackle, you don't like a Sim Richards as his backup. I mean, Sim Richards. I like a Sim Richards. I don't think he
Right,
was a bad player the last couple of years. Actually, I know you said some good things about him. You
right.
don't feel
Mhm.
confident with a Sim Richards backing up a Tyler Guyton?
Yeah, see, I liked Austin Richards coming out of the
Awesome.
draft, but
Mm-hmm.
here's what I'll say is that how many games? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, big. Like, so if you tell me, okay, Austin Richards is going to come in at week 4 and be our left tackle, I'm a little concerned, right? I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he can probably be like a band-aid versus a extreme fix. For me personally, if I had to really fix it, Tyler Smith would be my in case of emergency plan. So if something was to happen, let's say we get into camp and Tyler Guyton still isn't getting it, then that gives you the opportunity where you could cook Tyler Smith out to left tackle. If you wanted to, because Coach Riley already spoke about this, you could put BB back to his natural position at guard. Then yes, kind of conversation versus Hoffman at center, right? Then you got Booker and then you got Terrence Steele. So you have to get creative. But if you tell me that starting week 3, Austin Rich is going to be our left tackle, I still kind of have those concerns with them because it's still a huge question mark. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, dog. I like a Son Richards, and I don't want Cooper Beebe. I know he played guard and how nasty he was there, but I don't want to see him. I want to see him be great at center now. And
You just want him center? Yeah.
now I just want him to play center, bro, because I just feel
Yeah.
like we ain't had no, and Travis Frederick was nasty, but a lot of people we went through the Tyler Biadasz, who wasn't a bad player to me, but we understood what happened with him with the power and the
Right.
things like that. You know,
Right.
oh that
Proof. Like,
hey,
what's over
that's
here?
all good. Hey, that's all good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I seen that getting George franchise church. I seen them talk about it, but I mean, what do you think about George Fant? I mean, he been in the league about 10, 11 years. They picked up George Fant. Would you be okay if they got a George Fant and you still kept a Sam Richards?
Yeah, I mean, that's better. You know what I'm saying? I just think that you do just need a veteran in case. And I know that we had Chima
Mm-hmm.
Udoga last year, who had the
Yeah.
injuries, but it's like it's the most important position when it comes to our offensive line, the left tackle, especially when you have a quarterback who ripped his hamstring off the bone. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I want to be able to protect Dak, give him time in the pocket, and not have him scrambling around. And we got some killer defensive fronts, not just defensive fronts though, big. We got some edge rushers. I mean, we all saw the clip what they did with the Giants and then the new little NASCAR package. It could get filthy. So we got to best protect Dak Prescott on the perimeter. So I think that we'll give it Tyler Guyton a go. You got to clean up the hands. You got to clean up the footwork. You got to clean up the damn penalties. It's just those little things. But I feel like if it breaks, who would be the guy that they would go to? And I talk about it, think about last year's draft when the Chiefs drafted Kingsley Samatea out of BYU, right? Was he at BYU? Yeah, he was at BYU.
Yep.
Out of BYU. Left tackle, I kind of like this film, but he ain't work. And after the first 3 games, they said, hey, you got to come sit by me, dog. You know what I'm saying? Because this is Pat Mahomes.
Right.
And so they were kind of throwing some guys at the wall. And though they kind of made it throughout the course of the season, it got exposed versus Philly. And that's why they went and got Josh Simmons in the first round. I feel like I don't want to be in that same situation when it comes to our left tackle position. Because one thing, we didn't spit a boatload of picks at the offensive line position. So we got to have somebody out there in case of emergency. So, I think that my guy too would be Awesome Richards, but I know some people kind of feel him as a tweener. I kind of think him as a tweener between guard, left tackle. So yeah.
Well, I like the depth that they have right now. You know what I'm saying? And I like that you ain't got no Brock
Right.
Hoffman starting.
You want
That's
Brock.
what
You
I
also
like more than
anti-Brock.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't want, I'm anti
Right.
Brock starting. I'm pro Brock
Right.
Hoffman backup. Great backup. Be all that. Be all you can be as
Right.
the backup. But I don't want him as a starter because he lacks that power that I believe when you got that Tyler Booker pick, that's what you are solidifying. Because I really feel like, dog, I feel like this is going to be the new big 3. I'm not hyping
Right.
this offensive line. I think it may take like a year.
But
But the
see,
way you
big,
see
you
the
keep
Philadelphia
hold
offensive
on. You
line,
keep saying big 3. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be having the big 4. You know what I'm saying?
but I'm
Everybody
saying,
wants
but
to
I
make
feel
Tyler
like
Guyton,
Tyler.
Khloe Kardashian, and kind of cut him out.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to cut out. I don't want to cut him out. But I feel like you got to have them 3
Right.
to protect Dak. Now you got to have that middle. You got to have that center. You got to have two guards. Because just like you said, I said a couple years ago that I thought Dak was starting to be injury prone. I don't
Right.
care anybody tell me. You've been injured the last 3, maybe the last 4 years, knick-knack injuries. And you just had it when you were running, and when you run, you
Right.
look like you labor. And now when you ran, you
Right.
got hurt. So now when that pressure is coming at Dak, it coming up in that middle. You can't move around like you used to, but if you're protecting him in that middle, Dak is so much more effective. And in my opinion, he doesn't look at that rush or anything like that. He's got that clear view. He can be 1, 2, 3
Right.
step into his throw, and boom. That's when Dak is good. When he's just boom, boom, boom. When he's that rhythm quarterback. And I feel like you need that big protection. If you look at that front 3, that's all of them like damn near
Right.
335. You feel me? And all of them
Right.
play with power. That's why I'm hyped about them. I believe Tyler Guyton is going to step up. I said it was a maturity issue and he had to get strong in the weight room. But to your point, I like the Raleigh guy coming over. I like Clayton Adams because I believe they are instilling that confidence and saying, hey, forget
Right.
that last year. Don't even worry about that last year. We're starting over. We're going to do this. And, and he took, I did this.
Right.
I got to get better. And then, Terrence Steele, I feel like Terrence Steele just gonna be
Right.
Terrence Steele at this point now. And Terrence Steele just gonna. I ain't got no expectations for no Terrence Steele no more. I'm just like I feel like if the whole offensive line is gonna be good, I
Right.
think he'll be good. If the offensive line play bad,
Right.
you gonna play bad.
Right.
So
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So I feel like you that's gonna go hand in hand. But now I want to talk to you about this running game because a lot of people is mad in these damn streets about not getting no damn running back. You feel me? I made a couple videos and I said, okay, I get it. But you know what? Why can't I just don't believe, and you got to talk to me, Tuck. I just don't believe Miles Sanders fell off the planet in two
Right.
years and he's still young. And I looked in that background. He said he was going through some
Mhm.
mental things over there in Carolina. And when you're going through mental issues and that team was not good, I mean, you're not going to play good. And if you fall out of favor, you're going to
Right.
be, you know how it is, Tuck. Once you get in the
Right.
doghouse, it's hard to get out. And if there's a young player playing ahead of you, it's hard to
Right.
beat him out now. You get what I'm saying? And Devontae Williams, I don't think he's
Right.
terrible. He says he's 3 years removed. Are you panicking? I feel like there's panic in the world.
Um,
What do you think
I
about our
don't
run
think
game
I'm
right now?
panicking, but I'm not too excited, right? And I think here's the problem, big.
Who's gonna make you excited though, Tuck? Who
But
the
I,
hell
that's
is out there
well,
gonna
that
make
for
you
that for
excited?
me personally, I know a lot of people talking about like Nick Chubb or whatnot and J.K. Dobbins and this one. Me personally, big. I do like our draft, but I felt like this draft class was way too loaded to not walk out with one of them ones. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been 2 years we
Mm-hmm.
didn't broke
Mm-hmm.
down every damn running back prospect and kind of walk out with none. I know a lot of people want to say, "What about Jadon Blue?" If you go look what PFF posted, right? They had the top running backs that's going to be in college football. Type in CJ Baxter. He's only 19 years old. He was going to be ahead of Blue last year if he didn't get the injury. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like Blue was that guy. I mean, you watch Texas football. That's your team. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he
Mm-hmm.
was that guy. So I feel like right now it's still that question marker. Who's going to take it? And Cowboys fans, let's keep it a buck. We've always had two safety blankets. Our wide receiver. Now we fought for our wide receiver, so we got him in Pickens and CD. So we're good there. In the second position has always been running back from Tony Dorsett to Emmitt Smith to Ezekiel Elliott. Like we are not a running back by community team. Like we just don't feel comfortable with that. So when you're talking about Javonte, yeah, can he get us 1,000? Yeah, Rico got it. I think we will with an improved offensive line, also improved run scheme. But I just don't see who is going to be the guy that when you look at this running back room that makes you fearful for defensive coordinators, right? And I think that's the biggest problem from a scheme wise because our Achilles heel last year, they rushed 4, dropped 7, played over the top, kept everything in front of them because there was no serious threat in the run game. Yeah, you can get Miles Sanders. I mean, Jadon Blue's going to have a spark. I think Javonte is solid. Then you have Deuce, and then you have, Phil Maffa. So it's just a cluster of throwing things at the wall, hoping someone sticks. Versus, I know some Cowboys fans, self-included, would have liked to just have that guy who's a proven workhorse back, and then everything else behind him, you kind of get it where you fit in.
Yeah, but what's wrong with having the changing of the guard? I know we always have to have that feature type back here, but and I feel what you're saying about Jaden Blue. I mean, I'm not talking too much. My guy T Fanny, what's up with your dog? He says, "What about chop? Mouth is he chopped liver?" I don't think he's chopped liver, but I just feel like he's not going to make this roster. As far as I feel like he'll be a cut, and you can bring him back on the practice squad.
Right,
He just sits there because he's not going to come in as a rookie seventh rounder and come in and do that. I
right,
just don't believe that. Not at all. I do feel like if you got a good offensive line, Miles Sanders, I'm not
right,
hyping him.
right,
Trust and believe when I say this. But if he got a 1,200-yard season with that offensive
right,
line in Philly, and Dallas is, I believe that offensive line
right,
is going to be good in Dallas. I believe it's going to be good. I don't. Within a couple years, I think it's going to be one of the better offensive lines in
right.
the league. I really do believe that. But if you have a good offensive line, doesn't it make your running backs
Yeah,
better too? Doesn't it give you opportunities? And it's not like they were bad
right,
running backs prior. It's not like they were
right,
trash. I just feel like let's give it a chance and let's see what we have in camp. And I'm not saying Jadon Blue, but he does
right,
give you home run threat. That speed does. We need that
right.
element of speed. Didn't We clamor for
Right.
that
Yeah.
speed test.
And I feel like right. So if you kind of go back to last year, because Rico had 1,000, and I'm not even sure what the hell Zeke got where, right? So I feel like Javonte Williams can get me 1,000, right? I feel like I have 1,000% guarantee you if he's a starting running back, if he's RB1, he will get 1,000. And then you can split it, maybe get 500, 600 from Miles Sanders, maybe even 700, and then some big splash plays from Jadon Blue. I feel like that's how it's going to probably go. Or it might just be Jadon Blue being RB2. So I feel like you can get 1,600, 1,700 on the ground. Where my concern is big is having a guy who has a nose for the end zone. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what, because
Mm-hmm.
Javonte really hasn't had it. Miles ain't had it. Jadon Blue didn't even have it in college. Like, so who is going to be that guy that just has that nose for the end zone that can help with the inefficiency?
What
I
about
mean,
Hunter
I,
Luke?
I, I mean, I don't know. I've been trying for 3 years for them to use Honey Luki as a running back, bro. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? It's to the point where
okay.
maybe Shotty. Yeah,
But you
yeah.
feel
I
that
love
though.
Hunter Luki. I
You
feel like Hunter Luki is one of our most underutilized weapons because he can also be utilized. Remember that game before he fumbled, bro? Like he was cooking. Like, yeah.
he
And I
was
was
running
like,
the
I
ball.
don't get it. So me personally, if it's me, my running backs would be Javonte Williams, Jadon Blue, Hunter Luki, and we roll with that, right? I feel like that's serviceable enough, and then Deuce and Phil Moff or whoever y'all flavor ice can compete for whatever's left over. But those would be my three core running backs. I feel like I can get you enough because Javonte kind of gives you the balance. I know a lot of people think of him as this power back. He's not really a power back. He's more of an in between. He's more of a tweener. But you can get that power,
Mm-hmm.
short yardage back, that full back type of run from Hunter Luki, and then you have Jadon Blue to come in fresh, and that's the guy you can do a simple swing pass to, cut, crease, and hit his head on the goalpost. So that would probably be my core three. But I don't know. We'll see if it was a Mike McCarthy thing or what. But I feel like Hunter Luki was drastically underutilized in the Cowboys offense. I didn't understand it last year at all. So I mean, as soon as we kind of figure out, okay, Mike ain't rocking with Zeke, it should have just been Hunter Luki and Rico to get it in from there. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Right, right. Now I want to ask you this though, Tuck. We were just talking about, you said red zone. We have problems with the run game in the red zone. Now George Pickens is in there. That's a red zone threat. But also now you have a Joe Milton in there. Do you think they sprinkle a Joe Milton? Because we talked about that
Trey
with
Lance.
Trey Lance. Get him in there and sprinkle him in when you get inside that red zone. Everybody's raving about Joe Milton, and you see what he can do inside
Mm-hmm.
that red zone, inside that 10-yard line. Do you think he'll actually be a red zone threat? Do you think Shottenheimer will
Man,
be
I
created
hope
for that or
so.
no?
I hope so. I feel like if you're going to trade for that type of talent, him just holding the clipboard for in case of emergency isn't going to do you much. And like, yeah, I talked about this all year last year, and even though Cowboys fans didn't like the idea with Trey Lance, there should have been a lot more wear and tear that we put on Trey Lance's body just in the red zone, RPO game, running simple options, tush push his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like all sorts of stuff to at least get a return on our investment. So yeah, I would probably sprinkle that in because you're going to have to. The way that this game is changing big, we see it across with Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, like the mobile quarterback RPO, those types of plays, they're starting to become staples of what you see in the NFL. And like, I know people don't want to hear this. I just don't think that that's Dak, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Dak runs a RPO, I'm
Mm-hmm.
diving on the running back. If he peels out, okay, so be it. So, I would sprinkle in.
I don't want to see Dak no run damn no more, dog. I don't want to see him
Yeah,
run no more,
like
bro.
I said, I'll take the blame big because last year I was like bullying him to run, and he finally ran the ball
Yeah,
to
you
his
did
head.
bully.
You know what I'm
Yeah, you bullied the hell out of them. Like, we need Dak to run again.
saying?
No, we don't
My
need Dak to
bad,
run
Dak. You
again.
know what I'm saying? I was
That mother
bullying him
sucker
on the
look,
line. Clarence
dog,
asked him, and
dog.
then
He
he took
looked,
off and ripped
bro. He
his head
looked
flick
like
off
his
the ball.
back was hurting when he was running.
All
I
right,
don't want to see. Just, I mean, run when
right.
you got to. Run when you got to. But it
And
better
see,
be the absolute necessary now.
that's what made Dak
I
special,
feel
man. Like,
you,
and so that's a hard I
but it
know,
ain't
man,
that
because
no
think
more
about
though,
that
Tuck.
Seattle playoff game. Like, that's one of my favorite Dak.
You right, but
Yeah.
he can't do that no more. He ain't getting hit and flipped like that no more and leaving the game
Yeah.
walking. He tearing more legs up.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
another
Joe
leg
Milton that
injury.
there. You know what I'm saying? Because you need it. You
Yeah,
need
that's
it.
a Joe Milton. Now
Right.
Joe Milton can do that because he flip. He
Right.
stand up and do backflips like it ain't nothing. So he flipping and flopping everywhere. So we need to get him in red zone. Dallas Cowboys, y'all definitely need to make that happen
Right.
in the red zone. Now, I'm going to ask you about some players, and I want to ask to get your thoughts. And do you think this hype is real? So we're talking about the
Mhm.
tight ends. Obviously, you got Jake Ferguson. I said, it's his
Mhm.
contract year. I feel like maybe we'll see more of him. People been making this big thing of this Brevin Span forward thing. Luke Schoolmaker, who
Yeah.
I ain't even
Yeah.
talking about no Luke Schoolmaker. I ain't talking about him. But this Brevin Span forward, is it real to you? What do you really feel about him? And is this a real thing? Like, is because when I saw him, he looked like a big blocking back. It looked like
Mhm.
he had some hands, but is he really going to come in here and do some
I mean,
things?
I know a lot of people say he worked hard in all season. Of course, every player's worked hard this all season. My biggest knock when it comes to Brevin Span for like what he's like 6'7", he doesn't play 6'7" for me.
Yeah.
He doesn't play big go up vertical threat seam catcher. Like I just haven't seen that as of yet. But he does have the size. He does have the mold. So if I have to go towards a tight end two, between him and Schoon, it's Brevin Span 4, right? But I just don't feel like I don't see the big attraction that a lot of Cowboys fans are having right now. I know he's kind of the hot topic names, and of course, when we get out to camp, there's always going to be some type of camp darling. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Trayshawn Holden, I mean, you see in the chat Phil Moffett, like there's, what I'm saying, there's always going to be that little
Mm-hmm.
unknown favorite. But me personally, like a guy who I did like overspan for was John Stevens before he got the injury. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he was a guy that could have came in and really transcended our
That's what
passing
I'm
game.
talking
But
about.
we'll see how that comes with the injuries. But span forward, he has the size, you know what I'm saying? He has it. So maybe, Clayton Adams is Clayton Adams, you know what I'm saying? He worked with my guy, your guy too, you know what I'm saying? And Trey McBride. So
Mhm.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
don't believe
Yeah,
it though.
yeah. So
I don't believe
maybe he could turn that corner with them because Clayton Allen's a tight end guy, but I'm not too excited about Span Forward. The thing that I'm really watching, and Sadiq just mentioned, you just mentioned it in the contract year, it's Ferg. Like I need Ferg to really turn
it.
up.
Yeah.
I kind of been on the front line for him, and I don't have no more excuse. He tried to, he was injured. Like, nah, bro. Like, it's time for Ferg to really turn up and be what we expect him to be, or if not, I think the Cowboys are going to be looking for other options in the future when it comes to tight end.
Do you think? But let me ask you this, just on the topic of Ferg. I have this feeling now, just in my heart. I could be wrong
Mhm.
because I love Ferg, but I don't want to sound wrong about Ferg, but there's nothing
Right.
that stands out. Okay, not to me. The hands are good, and I like that coming out of college, and I ain't
Mhm.
even down on him. But do you really think they're gonna offer him another deal, or just do him like they did Dalton Schultz, dog, and just move on and get somebody else? I don't. Even if he has an awesome year, I don't feel like he's going to get a big deal
Yeah, because
in
the hard
Dallas.
part is he's competing now for a big deal versus George Pickens, right? So one of them has to turn up.
Mm-hmm.
In order for one of them to turn up, one of them has to turn down. So let's say Pickens goes for 1,009 touchdowns, right? He is going to be the priority, and I think for every Cowboys fan, he's going to be the priority. Let's say Ferg has a cool little 804 touchdowns. That's not going to be enough to warrant a second year deal in Dallas. And I think the question really going to be is like, whose guy is he? You know what I'm saying? Because was he a Mike McCarthy
Mm-hmm.
guy? Or was Schoon like who are some of these guys where Shotty sitting back like, hey, he don't, like they said on what Hustle and Flow. I mean, he belong with me, but he don't belong to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that really ain't my guy.
Right, right.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. But I feel like Ferg will have to turn up to where it's like top five type of.
He had to have a
Yeah, it has to be
1,300,
something
1,400
crazy.
yard season, dog. It had to be crazy for them to really. I just feel like we're seeing the beginning. I just feel like we're
Right,
seeing the end of Ferg, and I'm not even
right,
hating on you, dog. I just feel like you don't have anything that stands out from
right,
tight ends for me to say they're going to give you
right.
another contract, a 4-year deal, unless it's a friendly,
Hella
team
team friendly. I
friendly
just want to be
deal.
in
And
Dallas. Right,
and
right,
you feel that I just
right,
want to be in Dallas, and I feel like you're going to want to get paid unless you love that coaching them so much and you
right,
take the team friendly deal. That's the way team. That's the way
right. Because I
Ferg will
wouldn't
come
show
back.
him. I
But
wouldn't.
just
I
like
wouldn't
I,
tag him. I wouldn't do all that. Like, nah, bro. Like, it's
yeah, no,
right,
you're not tagging
right,
Ferg.
right.
There's no reason. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like it's over because he's not getting that year with
Right. Yeah.
Pickens
I think
getting
I
that.
think I think Pickens spoiled
You
that.
may have
Pickens
got it.
Pickens spoiled that.
Yeah,
Because we'll be
yeah.
pissed
You
if we're
may have
sitting
had it.
back and Ferg is getting more targets than Pickens. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like
Hell
we gonna
yes.
raise hell. So it's like he is now. I mean, hell, if you think about it, Ferg is now. He should be the fourth option when it comes to our offense because outside of Seeding and Pickens, it should
Right.
be whoever y'all running back one
Right.
is, right, getting touches, and then first get whatever's left over. So I think he's going to have a better season just off the talent alone that's around him. But yeah, I don't see him returning to Dallas, to be honest with you.
That's why I wish John Stevens Jr. didn't
Right.
have them damn injuries because
Right.
this would have been perfect storm now with Pickens and Lamb
Yeah.
and Stevens with the athletic ability. I don't know how much is that, but you
Right.
had two of them back to
Right.
back.
I
That's just
love
really tough.
Stevens,
But
man.
man, because we come on, keep it real. We need an
Right.
athletic ass tight end. We need a
Right.
guy
And
at
that's the
tight end.
thing,
We
like
need a
whether it's
guy.
Ferg, Schoon, or even Span Forward, like it's not fluid enough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not shifty.
No, it's
Yeah,
all
it's just,
robotic. It
it's
ain't
just
shifty. It
yeah,
ain't it ain't
there's no wiggle to it. And it's like you sit back and you watch
nope.
these tight ends across the league, whether it's Bowers and like these guys are like wide receivers. They got some bounce to them. They got some wiggle to them once they get in open space. Like I feel like we're always getting these blocky type tight ends that they can block. They can sit in the spot of a zone. They can turn and run a little bit, but it's not make nobody miss, make no, what I'm saying, those types of threats that you're seeing across the league.
Exactly. And shout out to my dog, Landlord Sports. My
What's
dog,
up, dog?
Land. What's up with your dog? And shout out to for the $5 holla. He says, what's happening, Big Tuck? Salute. Yeah, first clock is ticking this year. Schultz had a way better career at this
Right.
point and did get inside facts. And that's why, and that's my thing right there, because Schultz boy
Right.
had a better career than you, and they're not gonna sign you for a 1 year. They're not tendering
Right.
you. They're not gonna franchise.
Right.
They're not gonna
Right.
do that for you. So I just feel like this is the end
Especially
for
looking
Ferg.
at
No
next
matter
year's
what he
draft
does,
class.
he's
We
not
won't
gonna.
get there. We won't get there. You won't get there yet.
Come on, dog. Yeah, yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's over. But let's talk about these receivers because I want to ask you some questions about these receivers. Obviously, we know CD, and this is what I said, and I want to get your thoughts on this. When I said with CD, I post that picture to me was a classic picture where they had him, where they had him at the baseball, with him and Pickens. That picture was just hard, and I just reminded me of Tupac and Snoop, like
Yeah.
two of America's most wanted. I just felt like that's the way they're gonna be, and the reason why I say that just where they're gonna flow. Now, when Amari Cooper was here, and even Gallup, I thought they all played good as a group, but I feel like George Pickens brings more of that. He
Yeah,
brings more
man.
of that energy that CD
Right.
likes. Like he brings out the CD energy. Amari, they
Right.
played well, but he ain't gonna bring out that energy like Pickens is. Pickens got a different energy that CD
Right.
likes, and that's why I feel like this is gonna be so good because CD ain't gonna matter about them
Right.
damn catches. He gonna be like, throw
Right.
this motherfucking ball,
Right.
throw him to throw. You feel what I'm saying? First, talk to me about how do you feel about that dynamic, and then we'll talk about the other
Yeah, man.
receivers.
Again, salute to my dog Boss. I know he was talking about the Rashad Bateman, and Bateman got signed in Baltimore, right? And that's kind of the separation guy, or possibly Keenan Allen. But what George Pickens brings to the Cowboys is an electric charge. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that we didn't have. Like we used to have it, right? And I know a lot of people hate him now, right? But remember when things were going flat with the offense, and then Zeke would just run through somebody and do this, and then the whole crowd's chant Zeke, and now everyone's getting excited. Like we just didn't have that spark plug on the offensive side of the ball. George Pickens is that. Like George Pickens is going to be that guy.
Even with
Yeah,
Dez.
it's that Dez meant, and I've been talking to Dez, like if there's any photo or interview that needs to happen, it needs to be you and Pickens, because it's eerie how they are very similar. A lot of people think that George Pickens is, a distraction, or he's gun under the seat. Like he's not that. He just wants to win. He really just wants to win. So you have that competitive player opposite of CeeDee Lamb. And the thing that I love the most about CeeDee Lamb, bro, is that he was even prideful enough to put his ego to the side and say, nah, bro, I need some help. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Tolbert, you cool, you know what I'm saying? But I need some help, because they picked up the phone and called Cooper Kupp. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, come help. You know what I'm saying? Help me, please. I'm out here playing with a double team with a hurt shoulder and everything, right? So to get a George Pickens, a guy that who are you going to cover? You can't cover on one-on-one because I did a film session big. When they were just disrespecting Tolbert, playing single high, one-on-one, the safety was even shading towards this. Bro, I put my corner on the island with you. You know what I'm saying? We are not concerned. I dare teams to do that with George Pickens. And once those big catches happen, it's going to ignite things, going to open up things for CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, the run game. Like, I'm excited to see this dynamic. Now, I know a lot of people's comparing it to, Smitty and AJ Brown. The reason I'm not doing it because they got some work to do. They got to prove it, right? I'm not going to compare them to a Super Bowl champs, but I think if we look at the trajectory of how scary this duo can be, it can be one of the tops in the NFL. And I've been saying this big. We look across the league. We talk Chase Higgins, right? We did, Hill and Waddle, Jefferson, Addison, AJ Brown. It was just CeeDee Lamb in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so getting a duo, an actual real duo, is only going to help things for CeeDee, but also George Pickens, to have a guy who can put his arm around you, not super old, crusty vet big bro, but kind of around your age. Like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? I feel you, bro. I'm pissed too. Just chill out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, the camera's right there. You know what I'm saying? They can kind of guide George Pickens in Dallas. And I think it's going to be exciting to see. It's the most exciting thing that I'm ready to watch this year. Honestly, that George Pickens trade saved the season for me because I wasn't going to be tuning in too much. You know what I'm saying? So,
who you telling that's saved the season for me. I'm just keeping it real. Like I mean, I'm still going to just be normal with this because that's just how I feel. Because the front office, I still don't trust y'all for the life I can throw you. I'm never going to trust you, so I'm not going to be that. But when I've seen Pickens, and I don't want to hear this crap, just like you said, Tuck, about him being a distraction, a problem. That's a competitive spirit and fire that I want to win. And when I want to win, I get frustrated because y'all not playing the way I want to play. Y'all not are y'all trying to win here? Because if y'all not, I don't want to be here. That's what the feeling that I have with him, and that's what I see from him. And I just feel like, you with Dak, and you ain't had no real dog quarterback. You ain't had no real guy. You feel me? And you ain't had no opposite receiver neither. CD ain't had one. You ain't had one. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like y'all both have wanted this. That's why I just feel like it's gonna go be hand in hand because y'all both want to do this. But let's talk about the other guys. Let's talk about, we talk about the Tolberts and the Mingos and the Flournoys and and then even Turpin. Who of these guys? Maybe we'll talk about the third receiver. Is it a Turpin? Because he got the deal. He got the money. You know what I mean? And he showed he's some receiver skills. Is it going to be Mingo, who they spent the 4th-round pick, who I said look who he had at quarterback. He ain't have no guys. You get what I'm saying? Who's going to step up and be a sneaky receiver? Because I think Jonathan Mingo is. You tell me, am I wrong? And who else out there can be?
Now, if we're just looking at it just from a depth chart perspective, me personally, I would lean towards Mingo, right? Because I feel like Mingo has the big.
Now I don't want to go. I want to go depth chart. I want you to tell me.
So I would go Mingo, right? But the problem with Mingo is with Pickens, it's kind of like the same player almost. You know what I'm saying? So it's two kind of big body X wide receivers. And so what they're probably looking for is a shiftier field guy that can play in space, kind of your Brandon Cooks replacement. If CD's going to be in the slot, Pickens is going to be on the boundary. So that probably opens up, if I'm being honest, Jalen Tolbert. Me personally, if it's me coaching the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going with Kevontae Turpin because just by having that speedster threat out there opens up everything, right? So even if I just send Turpin deep just on a few shots, and I was talking about this the other day, remember that Saints game when they had Rashid Shaheed, right? People don't know about Rashid Shaheed like that in New Orleans, but he's a guy, if you get caught sleeping, he will take the top off and it's good night. So when it comes to Turpin, you got to worry about him not only getting over top, but you also got to worry about him underneath because he can take a quick screen pass and go to the crib, or he can take a reverse or a jet sweep and go to the crib. So you add that dynamic with the run game, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Me personally, I would lean towards Turpin. Who do I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to do, though? Honestly, I think it's going to be Jalen Tolbert, unless Jalen Tolbert completely just drops the ball, to be honest with y'all.
And see, here's the problem. We talk about now. This is what we talk about, Tuck. When we talk about true and fair competition. That's just you just opened the door for that to speak. Is it going to be real competition? Because you and I both know It should be
Right.
Turpin playing now
Right.
and not Tolbert. Tolbert should be your
Right.
red zone guy. He
Right.
showed it last year. He could be great in the red zone. You're probably going to move on from Turpin unless he takes a team-friendly deal.
Right.
Let's keep it real. The experiment, you tried
Right.
it. It ain't worked. Nobody's mad at that. We can't. Let's just keep the
Right.
reality of it. If you got a CD Lamb and you got a George Pickens now who helps all you other receivers, now Turpin's
He's even
even
after.
nastier. Because if I got CD Lamb and Pickens, and you got Turpin underneath, or can go, bro, Turpin can kill
Right.
you now because you got to see, you got to pay
Right.
attention to Pickens, you got to pay attention to the Lamb, and now that slippery, sneaky speed who you ain't
Mhm.
even thinking about. Oh, you do a boom,
Right.
boom, boom. Oh, fake behind the back. Oh,
Right.
I'm throwing it deep, and then Turpin's right there. I just feel like he's got to be the guy now.
Yeah.
You gave him the deal. Stop trying. Don't force that Tolbert thing because he was
Right.
your draft pick, and you're still trying to figure something out. No, on the Turpin thing, and I
Yeah,
think that's where
and
you got
not
to go.
even that big. It's like, think about how scary this could be. You could run a split back formation with Turpin and Blue.
Bro,
Now it's, you know what I'm saying? So now
bro.
now you let that innovative creativity offense really take its toll when you got those caliber players. But I feel
Oh,
like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we scouted Tober, you know what I'm saying? We loved him coming out of South Alabama, but
right.
he is limited. He is
Mm-hmm.
limited on what he can do. He's a guy that can go up and make plays in the air, but you don't need that anymore. You got Pickens, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
need a guy who's a serious threat. And I see someone posted that Turpin's underutilized. Like, yeah, bro, he's just underutilized.
He
I
is.
just don't think that Mike McCarthy had the vision how to unlock Tolbert, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Junior Adams, a guy who coached someone who's kind of smaller, and Tez Johnson in Oregon, like, hey, bro, this is what I used to do with Tez. Like, you can
Right.
unlock Tolbert, you know what I'm saying? Kevontae Turpin. So, yeah, if it's 1000% me, and I just feel like if you're going with the true spirit of competition, it will probably be Turpin, but knowing we'll see, you know what I'm saying? But
That's what we're
Tober's
gonna see.
Tober's friends with Dak, and he's really close with Shotty, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
hard worker, and he
Mm-hmm.
does, you know, he does special teams, and
Yeah.
you know, man,
That's what
yeah,
we're gonna talk
yeah,
about this
yeah.
competition. Is it
Where
real?
you start talking about intangibles versus just pure talent, that's when
Mm-hmm.
I know it's gonna be a little politics involved. Wearing number one, you know what I'm saying? So it me personally, it should be Turpin. But I would probably lean the Cowboys would probably lean towards Tolbert, Pickens, and CD, and they'll probably try to sprinkle in. I don't want Turpin to be a Lucky Whitehead. I don't want him to be a gidgety
No,
gadgety. Like, if you watch his, you know, his film at TCU, like, he was a wide receiver. I mean, he's got some off the field stuff. That's the only reason why he didn't get drafted. Like,
exactly,
he was a
exactly,
dog at wide
exactly,
receiver. So you
exactly.
got to be able to unlock that, which I really hope they do.
That's what they need to do. And Tuck, that's what I'm gonna be looking at. You've been talking
Yeah.
about the change in the competition,
Yeah,
Shotty. I
yeah,
love
you
it.
know, it's
I'm,
all fun
I'm
and
watching.
games now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
watching. That's what
yeah.
I'm watching because you know damn well who should be that slot guy right now. You
I
should stop looking at the size. Even when they put him at running back, he played
Right,
good. I mean, and that I was like, okay, I
right,
appreciate that. Who gives a healthy little? Get creative. Get the
right.
defense. What the hell? Why is
Yeah.
he back?
Well, I tell you
I
what,
want the.
big,
You know what I mean?
if
Go
we
ahead.
sit back there in preseason, we see, you know, Tolbert, you know, on the sideline in preseason with his chains on eating sunflower seeds, we already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You already
No,
know what it is. You see
no,
that man with his chain, his number one chain on eating
no.
sunflower seeds. They had Tolbert on the sideline like he
Man,
was a wide receiver too
right,
last year.
like he was the man. Like really,
I said,
he,
oh,
he
I,
don't
oh,
he don't
I
he
said, oh
don't need
shit, dog, you
to
done
he
made
don't need
it.
to play. Hey, that's that song. What the hell? That's what I'm gonna say right there. That's
Right.
the what the
I
hell.
said, oh, he done
So
made
what
it, bro. He
about
been good.
does the Flournoy, does he even have a chance or is he gone?
It's gonna be tough. I feel like once you start to talk about Ryan Flo, you got Paris Campbell, you also got Brooks, Jalen Brooks. Like, I feel like it might just be whoever gets it in for special teams, but now you toss in someone like a Trayshawn Holden, who he was a dog too. You know what I'm saying? Like, now
Mm-hmm,
I don't know if the Cowboys want that many dogs on their team, but
mm-hmm,
he was a
mm-hmm.
damn dog. And you also talk about Josh Kelly out of Texas Tech. Like, not only is he more your router, your underneath guy that can run pure routes, he's also a special teams ace. So now you have these young boys kind of coming in as UDFAs that can possibly move the Brooks, the Ryan Flows out of the way. So for me personally, I would be shocked if Ryan Flo makes it, because I think one of these young UDFAs will probably push them out. to be honest with you. And the hard part is you have to get it how you fit in during preseason. You know what I'm saying? Because you might get 4 or 5 passes your way, and for the whole preseason, you got to make the most out of it. And that might be Will Greer or whoever's throwing the ball. So, I would probably say, if I had to probably say Ryan Flo, probably be a cut and see if they can bring him back.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna be looking at that because those are the kind of battles I'm gonna be looking at on the team.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into the defense, because I got a lot of questions to ask you about this defense, dog.
Mhm.
I'm all about the defense, but I want to ask
Right.
you about Joe Milton. They
Mhm.
got him on his rookie deal, which I think is excellent. He's got 3 years on that rookie deal, so I feel like you got to get him with a quarterback guy. You got to develop this
Mhm.
dude. You got to develop him because from Michigan to Alabama, and I look the cannon arm, the athletic ability, dog. I love all of it, but I have my concerns about how you have not grown up as a passer. If you
Mhm.
understand, you still throw the ball a little too hard for your. It's not natural when you're throwing it. Um, what's your thoughts about Joe Milton? Does he have a chance to be somebody that can actually be a guy for a future, or is he just one of those flash in the pan? Oh, we got him. It was happy. Is this a way better thing to trade Lance? What's your thoughts on Joe Milton?
Yeah, I would say that Joe Milton is more developed than where Trey Lance is, but Trey Lance has bigger, scarier upside, right? Just with the size and the speed that he had coming in. But I feel like Joe Milton is going to be a guy that can possibly be, I don't want to say the quarterback of the future in Dallas, but he's a good bridge guy until we can find it. And I think the key to unlocking Joe Milton is a guy that, I'm going to probably do a video on coming up here next week is Ken Dorsey, right? Ken Dorsey was in Miami. He was also in Buffalo with Josh Allen. So he kind of had that type of quarterback. Now, I'm not saying Joe Milton's Josh Allen's for y'all want to, snip this or whatever, but he kind of has those Josh Allen-ish traits, right? Big arm, gunslinger mentality, mobile. So he can probably build a better game plan around Joe Milton than Mike McCarthy could have did around Trey Lance. Because that was my biggest frustration. There should have been some plays in the playbook for Trey. So I think that Joe Milton, for me personally, if Dak, knock on wood, has one of those injuries you're talking about, I would probably be excited to see him under center at the quarterback position because one, he's come from that spread offense in Tennessee. He does have the mobility, he does have the arm. There's going to be some, what the hell was he thinking? But as the reps start to grow and the game slows down for him, I think he's going to be an upgraded QB2 in Dallas. Future quarterback, I'll say this big. If I knew what was going to happen that happened in the draft, I don't care. Circus, whatever. Shador Sanders would have been the Dallas Cowboys. I would have been going crazy in
Yeah,
that draft if I knew they're going to let that kid fall all the way into
yeah,
the 5th round. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that Joe Milton is a good quality ad. I like it because it kind of gives me Romo Dak type vibes. You see what I'm saying? Where, hey, Dak, the little injuries that you get, don't let this kid get that spotlight. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Don't
right.
don't don't let this
Don't keep
kid,
getting hurt.
yeah, don't let this kid get a hold of George Pickens, and don't let this kid get a hold of CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, and you know what I'm saying, and start using his legs a little
Because
bit
he's
more.
exciting. Because
Yeah, some
he's exciting.
RPO style, like don't let it happen, Dak. So I don't give a damn if your thumb is hurt or whatever, bro. You want to gut it out because I feel like this is a kid. If he gets a hold of it, it might be hard to get it back because if he finds his groove, he's younger, right? So he's already connected with the team. He's hanging out with the defense. He's hanging out with those guys. He might pull up in a big chain. Like it's a different type of swagger and
Mm-hmm.
confidence. Be careful, Dak. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's going to take Dak's job, but if Dak has those little nagging injuries, this could be a very similar situation that Dak's familiar with.
Yeah, that's something to keep your eye on, not to cause any controversy. But
Right.
like I said, I like the upside. I hope he just continues to grow as a passer because if
Mhm.
he grows as a passer, then I can definitely see him being a future because of that oozing potential, man. You see him on the field. That stuff is exciting,
Right.
dog. And
Right.
well,
It
like you
is.
said,
And
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 when
it is.
and you
And
playing with
if the Cowboys
Pickens,
are who they've been saying they are all off season, where it's run game first and we want to, play action and all that stuff, that fits Joe Milton. You know what I'm saying? So, Is he a drop back 45 times type passer? No. But you tell me I'm getting 25, 26 passes with them with the run game and play action, the RPO game and quick game, he can do it.
Bro, that's exciting. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll see. Now let's talk about this defense, dog, because that I said it's got some talent, but it's got a lot
Right.
of questions. So I got some quick questions in here because I'm not gonna keep you all night. I appreciate you. Like I
Okay.
said, you
Okay.
jumping
Yeah, bro.
on.
You can rock. You know what I'm
Really,
saying? I got time for you, dog. So we can keep
really,
rocking.
really appreciate it. So let's talk about the defensive end because I said that's our deepest group from me. From me, I like that group is deep. I love how they brought Fowler back. Obviously, Parsons. I listened to some things from Eberflus and how he's going to do them. But what's your thoughts on the defensive ends? First of all, Sam Williams. I said I think he's going to have a career year because the pressure's on him. He doesn't
Mhm.
have the sponsors. He needs to get a new contract. He's got to show something. And this is, I mean, I know he's coming off the injury, but he injured at the beginning of the year. I would think he would be
Mhm.
okay now.
Right.
What's your thoughts on Sam Williams? Does he do something this year, or are we seeing the end of, or maybe the last of Sam Williams? Because we're gonna talk about this rookie who
Yeah.
Shotty said he's really, 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 really doing good over
Yeah, man.
there.
I think that Sam will, I'm happy to see him return back from the injury. But I think that we're in the last days of Sam Williams. So
Oh,
yeah, I think that he probably doesn't have a sponsor. He's had some off the field stuff, right? And he really hasn't shown improve. But I will say this: if you do give Sam Williams the snaps, he would be the number one player in Dallas. I would bet heavy on because we all know what'll happen. He'll turn up, mess around, have 15 sacks,
hey,
and people say,
dog.
you know what I'm saying? We
What
should
is
pay
this?
Sam Williams. We should pay, you know what I'm saying? We should make him high. You know what I'm saying? Like he will turn up. So if you give him the opportunity, he will go.
Is he
Right.
gonna get opportunity though?
I don't think he's going to get that opportunity.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that here in a second. But I do like Sam. Here's what I would suggest if I was Sam. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, hey, you see in this defensive end room, it's tight as hell, bro. If you want to get those reps, you played all your career at Ole Miss. I might try to slide inside and be that Chauncey Golston 3-tech/5 technique to get those more reps in and kind of getting that 3-tech defensive tackle rotation too. Because once we start going through this defensive end room, bro, I don't know. I don't know because we about to talk about a kid here in a second. I'm telling you, Cowboys Nation, once y'all see
He
him,
gonna go crazy.
he's gonna go crazy.
He
He's
gonna
gonna
go
go crazy.
crazy. He
Yeah,
gonna go crazy. Now you say that. I just did a video on Marshawn
John
Nealon
Nealon.
because
Right,
I feel like he's more of an inside guy too because he
right,
doesn't have those bendy traits. Even like a Sam Williams is more of like athletic. I'm not even gonna say Sam is super bendy. I'm gonna
right,
say he's a really good athlete, but
right.
that as a Raku is bendy and
Mhm.
all that. But I feel like Nealon's a candidate to come inside because, you know, he already came in at like 270 and he
Right,
wasn't a high sack guy at Western Michigan.
right.
So where do you think those two in this room, those two players particularly, you say you like seeing Sam kick inside more. What do you think about Nealon too?
Yep, the same with Nealon. The same with Nealon because I feel like when it comes to Nealon, he kind of gives me kind of like Dorrance Armstrong, right? Like he's going to be a
Okay.
guy that'll set the edge, very blue collar, but it's not jump off the screen, super freakish athletic wise, right? So I feel like he's a guy, like I said, because I feel like honestly, I would have signed Chauncey Golston, but losing Chauncey, you need that multiple guy, especially
Mm-hmm.
as you get in the dog days of December. You need some more of a rotation. And I just feel like, yeah, Marshawn Nealon and Sam Williams, you probably should see them as kind of a multiple player playing inside defensive tackle, but also playing on the edge in certain situations. But yeah, I agree because they have the size. Sam is a little bit more high motor than Marshawn Nealon, but Marshawn Nealon is more technically sound. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because Zim was playing him at defensive tackle last year too, as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely take advantage of that because I feel like the edge room, no matter how you slice it, man, it's going to be hard to get those reps unless it's an injury.
Man, but that's a good thing because you got a lot of edges. That's a great thing that you
Right,
can do that with that. You can be multiple, and it's good that you got guys that can be multiple.
right.
Now talk about this damn rookie because I ain't gonna lie to when they picked him in the second round, I was like, man, damn, because I had just heard about him. I ain't gonna lie, I just heard about him. Then I
Mhm.
went on that tape. I said, oh
Oh, yeah,
hell no. I'm like,
yeah,
how did this motherfucker drop the what? Oh man,
yeah,
and the work ethic, just the mindset, just it's like a Randy Gregory with a great mindset. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Without the problems. You know what I mean?
right.
Talk about this as a Raku, and what do you think he will do this year for the Dallas Cowboys? Because Eberflus talked very glowingly on that
Uh,
Doomsday podcast. They said, what player that you got on your team, maybe as a draft, who you like? He said, easy,
yeah,
easy.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he ain't signed yet, and you probably know why. But it's like,
I
yeah,
know,
I I
right?
I, I tell people this, man, because I was sitting there at the draft, right? Because we already picked Tyler Booker, and I was sitting next to an Eagles guy. And like, well, who do you think I'm going to draft? I was like, man, if it's me, just knowing how Howie likes to move, it's probably going to be Donovan Izaraku out at Boston College. He's like, really? I was like, this kid, as a Florida State guy, like he stays on go. So he felt like a Philly pick. So when Philly passed, I'm like, granted, it's Jahad Campbell, so I get it, right? But I said, okay, they passed on him, but I didn't think he was even on the Cowboys' radar for the reason, Billy, we're talking about. Our defensive room was so stacked already, right? We just brought
Mm-hmm.
Fowler, you know what I'm saying? We just spent a second round on Nealon and Sam Williams returning. So I wasn't even considering him as a
Me
pick.
neither.
So when his name got called, I said, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was giving this analogy on Twitter today, man. It's like sometimes you ever be down the crib drinking and vibing, whatnot, you know what I'm saying, playing games, watching movies, but man, I'm starving, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden your doorbell ring and someone just leaves some DoorDash or your port, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta just grab it, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta grab it and go, you know what I'm saying, and count your blessings. I feel like that's what the Cowboys did. Like I feel like they were sitting under looking at their draft board, and more than likely they had a first round grade on this kid and said, shit, well, y'all gonna let him fall us in the second round. I don't know how we gonna use them, but we gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah.
definitely gonna figure out. And I'm good friends with Will Blackman, who used to coach for the Cowboys under Mike McCarthy. Then he went and coached with what's his name? Bill used to coach for the Texans
Oh,
at Boston College.
Bill. Damn, I know who the hell. Bill.
Not,
Bill.
not Callahan. I need to talk. I see his face. I can't think his last name.
I see his damn face too.
Yeah, so he coached Deshaun Watson, right? But he coached Donovan Izaraku, right? So I called him like, bro, you seen it closer? He's like, man, this kid is like, I don't want to, tear him down a little bit, but he is just like a bootleg version of Micah Parsons. Like, if you want a kid that's going to be on go off the edge, you can probably close your eyes and say double-digit sacks his rookie year. That is him. And I was like, that's what I was seeing, you know what I'm saying? Because what do you like 4 sacks versus Florida State? Like, I remember, like, who the hell is, you know what I'm saying? So he is one of those guys I think around when we really get to see him with the pads on and those camp clips that's going to be going crazy. Once we see him come off that edge, it's going to be a wrap. And I just feel like it's going to be hard for someone to make that conversation. Bill O'Brien. Yeah,
Oh,
Bill O'Brien. It's going to
that's
be
why you love
hard
the
to
chat.
make.
That's why you love the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. I know some of
The
the chat
chat,
gonna
the
got it.
chat.
You don't need
If you
Google.
don't
Got the
got, if
chat,
you
you
don't
know
got,
what
you
I'm saying?
don't need to Google. You do not need Google when you got the chat.
Yeah,
You just mention it. They to say the name, the chat. The name
right.
gonna be
They
in
got
there
it. They be
within
loaded, man. Salute to the
within a
chat,
minute. The
man.
name coming in. We appreciate the
Salute
chat.
to the
Thank you.
chat. So yeah, I just feel like once the Cowboys fans see it, dog, they're not gonna let go. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to drop a film session every day saying that he needs more snaps. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, and you got him with Micah Parsons in his prime.
And Micah Parsons in his prime. And if you go back to that interview with Eberflus, right, he was talking about Micah Parsons liking to rush in the A gap and the B gap over the centers and the guards as well. So if I'm sending Donovan off one edge, Fowler off the other, Mike in the A gap, it's going to be
Bruh.
all out havoc. You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
then you, like you said, then you still got the Sam Williams that can throw in
right.
the package. And then
Sam Williams, right.
you
Right.
feel what I'm saying? And then
Right.
this is another sneaky player, and I want you to ask about him because I have my dog Tuck on here because he trained him. Solomon Thomas, dog. I said
Yeah.
Solomon Thomas is a
Right.
sneaky signing
Mhm.
because he is great on the inside. That's what his
Right.
work is. That's where he loves to be. That's where his work is.
Right.
That's why I feel like when you got all these edge guys, Now, you got Osa back, and I feel like Osa's going to be a damn good player. But this
Mhm.
Solomon Thomas pick is not talked about enough
Right.
because he played with White Cotton.
Mhm.
He is that guy that goes on a million. He's a great locker room guy. He's on a million, 1,000. He plays practice
Mhm.
hard, and he's got sneaky skills, and he's made for the inside.
Yeah.
Talk to me about
Yeah.
Solomon Thomas. What do you think about him? You can tamper. If should I calm down about Solomon Thomas? Do you think he's a great addition?
Now, if I had to say about Solomon Thomas, big, I think Solomon Thomas will be our Eric Kendricks signing from last year, right? It's a guy that, okay, we kind of got him, but, it wasn't super exciting, but it's going to be a guy we look up and be like, I'm damn glad that he's on our team because, when I hear Eberflus talk and I hear the defensive staff talk, right, I think that we're getting back to the Dan Quinnish type S defense where go get it, right? Peel your ears
Mm-hmm.
back, go hunt. Now, of course, we got to stop the run first. We'll talk about that in a second, but peel your ears back and go after the quarterback. High octane, throw to the balls. So we have a guy like Solomon Thomas that you can come in that can do that from the interior as well alongside Osa. It's only going to help, and he'll be a guy that can translate the defense, like you said, from White Cotton to the rest of the team. Just a veteran guy that you ain't got to worry about him not doing the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like
Exactly.
guys like that. I ain't got to worry about him. I know he's going to come to work every day. It's like, we're not going to look at the film like, Solomon Thomas out there slacking. Like,
Right.
it ain't going to be that, right? So it's a guy that we can trust. And if you look at the photos, I mean, he built like a tank. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So he has the size, he has the athleticism. You know what I'm saying? He has that kind of, and that's what I'm looking at. Big, when we look at our defensive linemen, we're talking about. There's a lot of tweeners, right? They're like
Mm-hmm.
defensive tackles and edge type bodies. You know what I'm saying? So they can play in multiple facets across the defensive line, which I think, if Eberflus is smart, he'll really unlock their talent and their traits.
Right. When I heard Eberflus, like I said, I listened to this Doomsday podcast, and they just really just talked to him for like 30 minutes. And, of course, he didn't give out any secrets, but I did just listen to him. And what he was saying was there's two things that you're going to do on my defense. Two main things we're going to do in this defense: stop the run and create turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the run and create turnovers. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's what he said, this main thing is, I'm gonna hear Eberflus because I know he always did like to stop the run. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he liked to have that base front because
Mm-hmm.
that base front had to be able to stop the run, and he'd need the guys
Right.
to have in there to do that. So with
And
that
and
being
I know
said,
Big, you were high on him. We always just talk about it, especially with D Law. It's just that Marinelli approach. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like everybody floats to the ball. And the
I
one thing I can probably say about Eberflus, let's say you're an 80% player, right? That's your
mm-hmm,
ceiling.
mm-hmm,
Eberflus is probably gonna get that 80% out of you. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And I just think that's what's going to be exciting about this defensive front. Now we'll talk about the other positions here in a second. That got me concerned, but yeah, I think they're
Well,
going
we're
to
going to
float
talk
the
about
ball.
one I know you're concerned about, and
Yeah,
it's the main thing we always been talking about. I just heard Steve Danny said the defensive tackle room, it is average. I can definitely say it is very
right.
average. I have no trust in Mazi. I'm sorry, we can just go to him
Yeah.
right now. I don't have no trust in him. I'm not going to believe it. I don't care. I'm going to go back to that interview from day one, Tuck, when he said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like football. I just like, I don't want to hear nobody say no shit
Right.
like that, dog. You keep that to yourself. If you don't like the game of football, you keep that to yourself. You don't tell nobody because that made me think. Every time I watch you play, do you like
Right.
football on that play? Did you
Right.
like that on that play? Like, I feel like that gives you the easy excuse for you to give up. And
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I don't see it. When I
Yeah.
watch him play, it don't look natural. Like, do you understand what I'm saying, Tuck?
Yeah, 1,000% big. I mean, and you coach kids a lot, right? You ever just see that one kid that's like in little league basketball? He just bigger than everybody. You know what I'm saying? He's not really good, but he just hit his growth spurt a little bit earlier, so he can get the rebound. You know what I'm saying? So then once everyone catches up with him in size, you realize how average he really is, right? I feel like
Yes.
that was my thing with Mazi was in college, he was able just to out physical everybody because some of the people that you're playing against, they're not at that level. They don't have the same strength as you. And that's why you would see that massive, oh my God, he's a dog. And then you have to wait almost 10 minutes in the film to see it again. You see what I'm saying? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't consistent plays. He had low gas mileage, and that's why I wasn't really a fan of him. I mean, I understand why we drafted him, but he just didn't have that high motor, consistent motor. You might see two big plays where he looks like Vita Vea, and you might not see one for the rest of the game. I just think when it comes to Mazi Smith, if he really wants to excel at the defensive level, he's going to have to stop trying to rely on his strength, and he's going to work on his technique, right? It's just
Gosh.
bad technique. It's just bad hand placement. It's bad anchoring. And you can't just push everybody. And, so that's why me personally, I've been banging the desk for another one tech. Though some Cowboys fans get mad at us for saying, I just think that we just need a guy that's going to be able to take on double teams, anchor in, and do it on a consistent basis. And if you ask me to compare and contrast right now, would I take Mazi or Jonathan Hankins that we had? I would take Jonathan Hankins. You see what I'm saying?
Day.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
I would even take Linville Joseph now.
Linville Joseph.
I would take his old ass, because I know that that would still be an option for them.
Right.
But Tuck, I'm just saying, when I watch him, once again, it doesn't look natural. I always see him put his hand out and he just not getting dog, just the way it don't look natural how you play the game of football at all. And I just I can't count on that. Just like you said, Tuck, I've coached and you've seen it. I've coached kids where I've seen them big, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, we got a big boy. And then when I watch him, I'm like, okay, he can't play. I don't care how big he is, he can't play. Like it does. His size, it don't matter, because people know how to beat him. They know how to beat that size because he don't know how to use it properly. Maybe that's what I'm saying. You don't know how to properly use your size, and it makes you look weird when I watch you play. And therefore, I'm just like, I need somebody more natural who can flow to the ball. Whereas I wish Jay Toya, who's the rookie from UCLA, I wish he wasn't a rookie. I wish he had been in the league at least 3 years. And then I could say you could come right in and be the guy that can come right in, because he's the more natural player. You see what I'm saying, Tuck? I can look at Mazi year 3 and see Jay Toya and see he's more better.
His upside, his traits, and his film is better than Mazi. So we're taking a 7th round pick versus a 1st round pick. Like, I can look at Jay and say, in the next 2 to 3 years, he'll probably be more seasoned than Mazi, right? But the problem is, like you're saying, Big, I'm not banking this year on no 7th round pick. I'm not banking stopping Saquon Barkley on opening Thursday night on no 7th round pick. So a lot of Cowboys fans are, we drafted Jay, and even the other kid, King Basote, right? I'm not banking. I'm not putting him in this. You know what I'm saying? So I just think when it comes to Mazi, 1, he has low gas mileage. You don't need a lot of snaps for him. And then 2, we just don't have the rotation, and he's still a work in progress. Now, maybe Cotton and Eberflus can kind of get to him, because I feel like what people say is, oh, Mazi improved last year. Well, if my kid got an F and then he got a D minus, well, I mean, technically he improved, but it ain't no B. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a whole, you know what I'm saying? We got a whole work to do so we get the passing grades. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, damn, I brought a D home. Hey, bro, all right, I ain't an F, but we still got some work to do. You know what I'm saying?
So. Yeah. So I definitely got to address that. Do you think, we know how the front office is. We seen them with Pickens. They moved out the area a little bit. We seen maybe a little difference. I'm not going to say too much, so I'm not going to put too much stock in them. Do you think they're done? Are they going to use the June 1 cuts to wait for cuts, or are they going to roll who they got?
Yeah, I talked to boss about this morning for like 2 hours. They done, bro. They done, bro. They
ain't gonna try to get nobody from cuts.
They'll get somebody. It'll be like a Jordan Phillips type sign. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't gonna be nothing where we like, okay.
Yeah, they ain't gonna spend no money. They ain't doing no more picks. They ain't spending no money.
After that Pickens trade, and they see how the Cowboys fans have swung that momentum, the positivity. We didn't put all them Pickens signs down, season tickets for.
Once they got Pickens, it was over. We got your guy shut up.
I've been
now, if we had a shut up
5 years, bro.
If we had a shut up signing, that was a shut up signing.
As quick as they did this year, bro. Soon as I posted my tickets this year, them things sold just like that.
That was the shut up signing of the year.
That was a hell of a shut. That was a shut up. And we're not getting another sign for next maybe 5 to 10 years, bro. Like, we're done. So it's like, now I just feel like, all right, bro, y'all get the defensive tackle, cool, but I'm not expecting it to be a splash where people talking like DJ Reader.
It ain't gonna be a guy. It ain't gonna be a
Nah,
guy.
it might be Linval Joseph back, or it might be some guy who played with Eberflus who got cut, or some UFL guy that they found that didn't try it out. But yeah, you can already tell, man. Steven's whole talking tone is different at the pick. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
We
He
ain't
got
got
pinned.
nothing on the oven. We ain't
Just
this
just
this
like just like they did with Amari. When they got
yeah.
Amari, we good. We got
Yeah,
Amari now.
we
Now
ain't
shut
good,
up.
bro.
We
I
got
don't give a
Amari.
damn. We
Yeah,
ain't
I
looking at
don't.
no Nick
Yeah,
Chubb.
win.
We not looking at no Jalen Ramsey. We ain't doing nothing. We're done. We'll see y'all at camp.
For real. But
Yeah.
hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I got a couple more positions I want to talk to you about,
Okay.
linebacker in particular, because I feel like the linebacker room is not that bad right now. I think
Right.
I want you to get your opinion on it and tell me the truth. Am I wrong here? I said Kenneth Murray Jr. I don't think he's going to be a world beater, but I feel like he's going to surprise. And I feel like he's going to be better here in Dallas.
Mhm.
I like the Jake Sanborn. I called him a poor man, Sean Lee, because we haven't had some guy who's with the instincts and the
Mhm.
guy that can really come in there, hone in, see it, and attack it instead of guys
Mhm.
want to see it and wait forever. But
Mhm.
tell me about the linebacker room. I'm not counting on Overshown. I love Leah Fowl. Does
Right.
Michael Parsons play a little bit? Talk to me about that locker room. Is a Damone Clark? Is he a done project? Shamar James, is he just a special teams guy? Talk to me about this locker room with the linebackers. How do you feel about them as a whole?
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to Kenneth Murray, he would probably be the linebacker that we brought that I'm the most excited about. I won't say super excited about, but I feel like he has the biggest upside potential, right? He's just a solid blue collar tackler, a guy that's going to give you a little bit more brute first force. I feel like he's a massive upgrade over Damone Clark. I would be shocked if Damone Clark makes it through.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be because of the Overshown injury that he kind of skates through, but when you add Kenneth Murray, I'm extremely high on Maris. I love Maris coming out of Notre Dame. I love this kid's IQ. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that he's going to definitely take an uptick. So I like Maris. Jack Sanborn, even though he's kind of unproven, I see the excitement, but it's hard to go off of it because you really haven't seen it translate on the field for the most part. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? His film was kind of
You don't
lackluster.
you don't like the film in Chicago?
I mean, it was all right, but it's just more of a special team guy. You know what I'm saying? It kind of
Okay.
feels, like I mean, like Nick Vigil. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like that, right? But
Okay.
I think that since he's coming from Eberflus's scheme, he's going to have the opportunity to maybe turn up a little bit as he gets more responsibility. Sister JC, what's up, my dog?
Shout out to you,
But
JC.
another guy that you mentioned him as a special teamers, possibly who I think that could be unleashed is Shamar James coming out of the University of Florida. He
Really?
is a guy, yeah, he is a guy that has a lot of overshownish traits, right? He's very straight line speed. He's a blitzer off the edge. He's more of an avalanche. But as far as sideline to sideline tackling, all sorts of stuff like that, it's going to need some cleanup work. He's decent in cover, especially in zone, but he's a guy that, you know what I'm saying, if you just shoot him off the, you know what I'm saying, as blitzing A gap, B gap, like he peels his ears back and he goes. So he's very high motor, but there's just stuff from a linebacker technique wise he needs to be cleaned up. So I kind of like it because this is another guy that you can toss out there on third down possibly and say, go after the quarterback, and he'll definitely be able to come off the edge. Crazy as it sounds, big, he reminds me kind of a Donovan Wilson type. You know what I'm saying? So he's more of
Really?
that hybrid tweener where he can play
He's
in
actually. Do
coverage.
you actually think he's going to get time this year? You think he'll actually get time in the
This
room?
year, probably not. Probably not. I think it'll be splashes, right? You'll probably see
Okay.
splashes of it. But I think that once Cowboys fans kind of see him, like there's gonna be some plays where like I like how this kid moves. Like I like how he moves. I like how
So
he
what?
comes
So he'll
downhill.
so he'll be a. So you think he'll be a guy when we're in preseason? Hey, don't forget that
Right.
draft pick we picked. You think he'll be
Right,
that one?
right. He'll be one of those when we're sitting back watching the third quarter of the preseason and be like, damn, he's out there moving. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So but it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. So overall with the linebacker room, if I had to gauge it, do I feel better about it this year than last year? Probably not due to the Overshown injury. If it's me, I would definitely sprinkle Micah back in that linebacker room. And I just think
Okay.
that for me, big, when I saw the schedule release when they were out there golfing, doing all that fun stuff, and I saw
Mm-hmm.
Mike in that dry fit, his shape is now taking on linebacker size. It doesn't feel hand the dirt defensive end to me. So I would probably use Micah at the second level a little bit more than what Zim used him as, kind of going back to being that chess piece. But overall, I'm okay with the linebackers. I don't love it, but as of right now, I don't have too many options, to be honest with you.
Okay, and shout out to
Yeah.
my like I said, JC Cowboys Network doing
It's
all
my
those
dog, man.
film breakdown extraordinaire. 499
Cooking.
holla. He's the extraordinaire. So if you want
Yeah.
some film breakdown,
Maybe you want to get back in the lab a little
right?
bit. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying,
Him
yeah,
and Lou
yeah.
doing verses, going
You
back and
feel me?
forth. You know what I'm saying? I
Exactly.
might got
They
to get
doing the
into
verse.
that.
That's the first thing I said, Tuck. I said they over here doing. I said Tuck gonna jump right back in
Yeah,
there,
I'm going to
dog.
jump back
You ain't
in.
gonna
You know
sit
what
there
I'm
watching y'all. He gonna jump right back in it. Y'all over there motivated because y'all motherfuckers said he said it perfectly. Y'all are doing a verses like back and
saying?
forth. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. I'm just
Yeah.
getting treat after treat. I appreciate y'all, man. We need people like y'all in the community, man. That specifically like what you said, JC. That sometimes people got to find their lane, and once they
Mhm.
find their lane, they stay in that lane and do that lane. And
Right.
I appreciate that's the lane that you're killing it in, and you're just really understand that's the lane I destroyed in, and you're really
Mhm.
just opening the door for all of us. That really made some people may not really understand some things. There are
Mhm.
people out there that really break it down as well as you, Tuck, because you have definitely broke down a lot of things
Yes,
that I have
man.
watched and like let me understand even more things about football. Because one thing
Mhm.
I want to say before we talk about anything else is, as a content creator, we can't act like we know everything in these
Right.
motherfucking streets. That's the problem.
Right.
See, we get in these streets and we get behind this mic and we feel like we know every damn thing in the world.
Mhm.
And that's not true. You
Right.
can learn from other people, content
Mhm.
creators, people in the chat. A lot of people know this game. People might be in the
Mhm.
chat, might play damn football 20 years and you ain't played a damn thing. And they
Facts.
trying to, you feel me? And you out
Facts.
there trying to tell them. And they like, bruh, let me pull you up some tape and let me show you before you got to telling me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think we should be humble and be able to always willing
Facts.
to have an open mind to learn. I have
Yeah.
learned even more since I've been in these streets from
Mhm.
everybody. Just when I had Lou on, I said,
Mhm.
Lou, I love your shit because you teach me more about the offensive line. I've seen it from
Right.
other people, but now you showing it from me from a whole different perspective. So I
Right.
really
Yeah.
love all the people that we have in the streets, the community that we know, Tuck, that
Right.
really go hard to really bring out the realest stuff. So I just want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to all you guys
Yeah,
out there,
man.
man, doing the
I'm
damn
I'm
thing.
the yeah, I'm the same way. That's why you might see me in this multiple chats, man. I just love watching and learning. You know what I'm saying? Because I see it from one way, but you might see it
Mm-hmm.
from a different way. Like I play
Exactly.
linebacker, but Lou
Right.
play offensive line. So I'm not sure like the number system when it comes to blocking, like why some teams use it, why some, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a combo, like boxing, like 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? So like there's certain things that I don't know why they use it. I just know that some teams use it, some teams don't. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
Lou knows about those little things, the drive foot, catch foot, and all those. I'm learning from Lou. I'm sitting back watching Lou. I 1000% agree with you, Big. It's like sometimes that pride sets in, like we are know it all. Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when it's time to talk about corner, it's time for me to shut the hell up and let boss talk. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. When
Mm-hmm.
it's linebacker, that's my thing, right? When it's running
Mm-hmm.
back, that's DMV. So it's like I love the community when we bring together, and like I said, it's always about upskilling and learning. And I felt like for me personally, Big, you did a great job of this when I was coming up. I want to make sure that whenever somebody leaves my show, they leaving with something. You know what I'm saying? Denzel,
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving here with something that you did not know before after you watch my show. Because if not, bro, you should have just saved your 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? I just keep, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you straight up, bro. If you know what I'm saying, if you watch my show and you ain't walk away with nothing out in 2 hours, you ain't know. You could have just went and did something else, man, with
Yeah,
the family. You know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. You feel me? So, like I said, I
yeah.
appreciate the community and let's keep on rising. So, here's this cornerback thing, dog, because there's a lot of unknowns with these injuries, with Diggs. He making these videos, Tug.
Mhm.
Front office saying, I said, is this the beginning of the end for Diggs? And then we know about that young rook, Ravel, who's oozing
Mhm.
with talent, but let's not maybe rush him. Then we
Right.
got Mukamu. What is he gonna play? They kept him on ice forever. Is he gonna play corner? Is he gonna play safety? What the hell? And then we've seen about the two safeties because I'm gonna combine these with the corners and the safeties because
Okay.
we've seen about the safeties and now Wanye, are they gonna get some work? Kalen Carson, we got Elam. But first, let me just start with the corners. Do you think Diggs? When do you think Diggs is gonna play? In your opinion?
I think he starts the season off on pup.
Okay. You think
So I'm
he's more
thinking
mid-season?
mid-season.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
when they had that injury,
That was
it
toward
was
it.
what? It was
It
like
was like week 4, week. Well, no wait. When
it
was
was like
that? No, it was till the end of the year, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like end of the year. It was like almost like I won't say it was a
Because
thing. Was it
because
around
he didn't have
Thanksgiving?
surgery until like February, right?
Right. He didn't have surgery till like Super Bowl time.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, it was late. I think it was like around Thanksgiving or not. You know what I'm saying? So that was a late season injury. So you have that with Diggs. I would probably say Pup because I doubt that he rushes it back. Right? I doubt that he rushes back because of what happened the season prior. Whether the conversations was that they wasn't happy about his workouts, and of course, he liked working on his own in Miami versus being with Brett, and so it's just all these little different things. I don't see Diggs working out and coming back before he's 1,000% healthy, especially if there's always already rumors about them moving on for him. You know what I'm saying? So
That's what I was just about
yeah,
to
he's
ask you
gonna want to
about
be right.
because I feel like this is the beginning of the end. And if he comes back fully healthy, do they use him as a trade piece next year? You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
just feel like this is the big. I made a video and said, "Is this the beginning of the end for Trevor Diggs?" I feel like it is. I just feel it in my heart. What do you think? What do you think, Tuck?
Yeah, I do. I do. I really do. Because one, they have a boatload of corners. Two, they're going to have to make a decision on what they're going to do with Deron Bland. And
Mm-hmm.
then three, they got Siobhan Revel. And I feel like if he bounces back and becomes who he was prior to the injury, he's not playing inside in the slot. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be on the boundary. So I think they got their insurance policy when it comes to Revel. So I think that ultimately, unfortunately for Diggs, right? This is what happens when you do the discount deals and do him a favor. You know what I'm saying? It might come back to bite you a little bit. I think the writing might be on the wall for Trayvon, and it could possibly be on the wall for Duran as well, which we'll talk about.
Let's talk about it now because
Yeah.
I've been saying from A1 day one, and I ain't this ain't no diss on no Bland. I just
Right.
A1 day one. I just felt like you more the slot corner. I seen holes in your game when you got put at the one. And yes, we seen that year you had
Right.
and the history you made, but there was still holes. That don't take away from you
Right.
not having holes just because you did that. And I think people keep on going back to that Pro Bowl type year, that create that historic year, and they get
Mm-hmm.
blinded with saying, "Oh, he's a $20 million guy. He's a 21 million
Mm-hmm.
because that's what he's gonna want." I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna want, and I just don't see that. And I'm just like, you can get a good deal, but you don't
Right.
have to get the break the bank deal. Come back at a good deal, but you
Right.
got to get your money. So I ain't hating on these guys. But
Right.
what do you think about Bland? I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard pressed to make him one of the highest paid. You know what I'm saying? Because he one going to sign Tyler Smith, right? You know what I'm saying? Tyler Smith
Right.
just switched his agent, so whenever a
You
player
know, when they
switches
switch
agent,
agents, they
you
get
already know
money.
like
They get
all
money.
that guard money, cute. You know what I'm saying? But for that year I played left tackle, yeah, it's tough for that. So they're gonna have to sign Tyler Smith. So I feel like with Deron Bland, you're right because even when so this is the chat, he got hurt. Diggs got hurt after week 11, had surgery on January 23rd.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, pup him. So he's gonna be on pup.
Mhm.
But back to Deron Bland, even when he had that historical year with the interceptions and the pick sixes, we all remember that game versus Seattle when he was against the
Ooh.
dog and DK, like he was dog food. And then coming back from the injury that he had last year, it just wasn't the same. And now we're pretty much set in a situation where, okay, we moved on from Jordan Lewis, which we should have re-signed him in the first place. But now we need an inside corner. Well, Deron Bland's probably saying, bro, I ain't about to go. I'm in a contract year. I ain't about to play inside. But for the
Mhm.
betterment of the team, you're probably more fitted to play inside versus on the outside. So, I don't
Is
think that
that gonna
Deron
cause friction?
it's going to cause friction because Shotty already mentioned he's like, man, and we talked to Deron about playing in, and we know it's a con like so they have already had the conversation with Deron Bland's for like, man, I ain't about to do all that playing no nickel because the price point ain't the same. But bro, are you really qualified to go out there? Like, if we say, okay, we don't start Deron Bland on AJ Brown, I don't
I don't
know.
feel good about that. I don't feel good about that at all, dog.
You don't?
You're gonna get work. I
That's
don't
what
feel.
I'm saying. Yeah, I don't feel good about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah, I don't
like,
feel good about that.
yeah, so it's
I don't
like,
want to see Deron Bland doing that, dog. Like,
right.
no, that's gonna be
Right.
a bad
That's not
game.
his game.
That's not his
That's not
game.
his game. And then it also is going to be, how the cornerbacks coach, but opposite of um Al Harris being gone, because even if was talking about, interceptions and playing in phase and keeping their eye, so is it going to be that same type of approach that Zim didn't coach that way? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I think that Deron Bland will probably be gone. I think that Trayvon will probably be gone. But also it depends big on we're not third
How
defensive staff in 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right. And
what's
also Elam, because I was going to
right,
bring him up. I feel
right,
like he is a key piece for the front office because they made the trade. They're
right,
banking on him, and if he elevates, because I made a video on him, I don't feel like it's because he doesn't try hard. I feel like he
right,
has the effort, but
right,
maybe not been the right system. If he plays well, I feel like they're looking at him. I feel like
right,
he's the piece that the front office is looking and
right,
maybe the team is looking at
right,
because if he plays good, it's going to make him easier to say bye Bland, bye
right.
Diggs.
Yeah, if he's that refurbished project, and I talked about it on Twitter, man, I love Kyer Elam coming out of Florida. Like,
You
what I'm
like
saying?
him?
I talked to him I remember I was at the hotel in Tampa when
Mm-hmm.
we played versus them, and he was at my hotel. I went and talked to him and his coach and said, "Hey, man, I'm pulling for you in the draft, and I want you to be a Dallas Cowboy." So he had everything that you wanted from an outside corner coming out of Florida. Now I didn't track him in Buffalo, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a change of scenery could
Mm-hmm.
help. And what we're hearing, big, they already setting it up. Kyer Elam, all the
Yeah,
reports.
yeah,
Kyer
yeah,
Elam,
yeah, yeah.
you know what
That's
I'm
what I'm
saying? So they're
saying. That's what
starting
I'm
to,
saying.
you know what I'm saying, starting to put that little
Is it
bit out
real or is
there.
it fake though? Because you've been hearing
Oh,
about this Kyrie Elam, Kyrie Elam. Are they
I
doing it
can
because
see
they
it being
traded?
real. I honestly can
Okay.
see it being real because he has the talent. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm-hmm.
haven't gone into his Buffalo and kind of dive into his story, which I should, but it's like he has the talent. Like he is definitely was a first round talent. So if he even resembles what he was at Florida, then the Joneses might serve themselves right with Kyrie Elam. So we'll have to see how it all unfolds. But also, speaking of the film sessions, I might have to get my bag because I really feel like big. There's a possibility we could save Kalen Carson. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I was just about to ask you about him.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
feel
I want to throw him away after one
yeah,
year.
I'm not, because I was starting to get there, and I think I was talking to Lou the other day, and I was like, you know what? Let me go double check because there was this narrative that he got burnt and beat versus the Ravens game, and we started watching the film. I was like, man, he had some missed tackles, you know what I'm saying, but it wasn't too crazy. I just feel like with a lot of these rookies last year, their confidence got killed. Whether it was Mike
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy pulling the cord because he was in a contract year and saying, I can't,
He threw him right in the fire, and he was a fifth
yeah,
rounder.
yeah, right, right. So his kids got tossed in the fire and they didn't survive. So
You mentioned that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Kalen Carson might be a guy that, I mean, if you take that 21 off of him, you know what I'm saying? It's like that
Right.
pressure off him, you know what I'm saying? Give him
Right.
like number
Right.
17 or something like there
Yeah.
and say go ball. I think it's there. So with him and Kyer Elam, they had crazy traits because out of Wake Forest, I'm telling you, Kalen Carson was a lock. He was a damn
Mm-hmm.
menace. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what the hell happened. So if either two of those guys even take a leap and resemble who they was coming into the draft, and then you have Siobhan Revel, I think it's goodbye for Diggs and also Deron Bland. I think that's going to be an easy cut for the Cowboys to make.
I agree. I think I think that's one of the reasons why we saw them say let's play out the deal with Ferguson and let's play it out with Bland
Right,
because we just want to see what you're gonna do. But y'all
right,
gonna have to have phenomenal years again,
right, right, right,
phenomenal years to get that. Because if
right,
not, they can move on because
right.
of the
I mean,
draft
because think about how
status.
they did Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis coming off his
Oh,
best year, you know what I'm saying? They were just
oh,
like, bye.
and they could have afforded that.
Right,
If they
right.
had the money, they could have afforded that.
They
You
could
feel what I'm
easily
saying?
afford it.
So,
He was a Cowboys guy and, you know what I'm saying, veteran guy. And it was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? So,
so I feel you with
yeah.
that. So what about Wanye? What about Marquise Bell? Marquise Bell is your guy. I remember you really trumpeting Marquise, really breaking
Mhm.
him down. Do they get a chance? Because you heard Wanye, he said, "I'm happy again, having a
Yeah,
good time again." Because you ain't getting no work with Zimmer, none,
right,
and you
right,
got a lot of work with Dan Quinn.
right.
Now, where do you think those two guys? Because they signed Marquise to a multi-year deal. We
Right.
know about that. Now,
Yeah.
what do you think goes on with this dynamic and that X factor Mukamu? What
Mhm.
about him?
Yeah, man. I feel like when it comes to Wanye, even with the conversation of him playing the slot, me personally, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, even though he's athletic, but I don't think that's where he is. I really would like him either playing around the strong, around the line of scrimmage, or even playing the free.
Mhm.
And the same with Marquise Bell. I think that when it comes down to Marquise Bell, he will be the big nickel that we play with Eberflus's scheme. So I think they're going to have a role for Marquise Bell. But talking about Izzy, man, I don't get it. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just wrong, big. I do not understand how the Cowboys have not found a role for this kid. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Okay.
just feel
Okay.
like with that wing size, athleticism, even him playing on the outside and the boundary corner, he's played well. I mean, he's played well in playoff games. So it's just
Right.
like I feel like honestly, kind of knowing how the Cowboys work, I think he may have pissed somebody off. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully that person that Izzy has pissed off is gone. If I had to gauge it, I would probably move on from the Hooker Donovan combo. You could do the post June with Donovan. I just feel like it's
Would you
time.
move on this year?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I
And
would.
let them
I
young
would.
busters say, let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's let him go. Right. I feel like we've gotten past this phase where we haven't really gotten to progress stoppers in Dallas. If there's anywhere where I see two progress stoppers, it's at the safety
Damn.
position.
Damn, that's some real shit, Tuck.
You
Like
know what I'm saying?
I never,
It's just
I've been thinking about it, right? I've been
yeah,
thinking about it because I brought it up at the beginning of the season last year. What about having Marquise and Wanye? But I just feel just like you just said that. I feel you. I feel you. They feel like progress stoppers now. It just feels like if they're like,
right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Like
Yeah,
if
it's
y'all
not
if
like
y'all moved out the way, I feel like let's take a chance with these young boys. I'm cool with some mistakes, but that
right,
young energy they gonna bring, I
right.
need that.
Right. Yeah, 1,000%. And it's not like it's like, oh my God, like our defense can't function if we lose Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. It's just
Right.
like, I mean, they good, bro. But I can go get you another Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson if you want a veteran
Exactly.
guy. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like it's progress stoppers with those two because
Mm-hmm.
I like, yeah, if you're gonna go youth, you've been talking about competition,
Mm-hmm.
high energy, high
Mm-hmm.
motor, you know what I'm saying? That type of explosiveness is going to come from Marquise. It's going to come from Wanye. It's going to
Yeah.
come from Izzy. And there's also another kid that we got out
Yeah.
of
I know you about to mention them.
Syracuse, Elijah Clark.
Yes.
Uh,
They've
so
been they've been saying the world about him.
yeah, I loved Elijah Clark. Y'all follow my mocks. I was drafting the kid damn near every time we got opportunity for. So to get him as a UDFA, and they paid him a bag too.
I remember you
Yeah,
talking about him a
they
lot.
dropped the bag off on him too. So it's like, man, there's some guys that I feel like you could probably get away with that safety, and it's not like Malik Hooker. If we lose Malik Hooker, our season's over. You know what I'm saying?
They need to do that, Tuck.
Yeah,
They need
I
to do
would.
that. They are progress stoppers. I feel you
Yeah,
in every sense of it. It feels like I said. It just feels like with them there. And please understand, y'all, fans of them. I'm not saying they just. I
right,
feel like when they're there, they're bringing the defense down. Them
right,
being there, it's bringing the defense down. Like any hypeness, it goes
right,
away. When I seen that picture with Wanye, I'm like, oh man, he looked right. Like it
right.
looked like
Yeah.
Wanye. Like what?
And see,
What?
people don't understand, like Wanye, like 217, too.
Oh,
Like
he
he's
got bigger,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah, he's big. Like he's big. You know what I'm saying? So like he has size, he can tackle, he's athletic as hell, he can do kick return, he can do special
Yes.
teams.
And if
So he
you
gives
give
you a
him that
special team.
confidence, he's that
Yeah,
guy. If you give
right,
him that, hey, you're the man. He
right,
going, oh yeah,
right.
because he's been wanting this.
Right, he's been wanting it you give two undrafted guys an opportunity to finally take the reins in
And
Dallas.
Marquise already showed you he could do it.
And he was playing the wrong position. He's playing
Right,
linebacker. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So like,
I
so
feel you,
like
Tuck.
at
We can
least
do
you
that.
should pay the man for making a sacrifice playing, linebacker for them years. We're like, yeah, man, like give him
They need to go
opportunity.
ahead and do that, dog. You just need to go ahead and make that
Yeah,
move. See if you can
yeah,
get something for Donovan. If you can't, buy.
right. Yeah. I think
Because
I
you're not
think with
losing.
the post June you saved like
You
six
can
mil or
save some
something like
money
that.
for him.
Yeah, with Donovan, so yeah, bro, like
Make that happen.
yeah. Or you can
That
cut
move.
him and re-sign him. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
You can
don't
get
do that. Nah,
yeah, you know
don't
what I'm
even
saying?
do
I don't
that.
know.
It's time. It's
Right.
time to
It's
move
time.
on.
Right. It's time. Right. This is Jason Witten in front of Blake Jarwin. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
then again, all over again. You see what I'm saying?
yes,
Like, yeah.
yes. I totally agree. So, with that being said, as we get ready to end here, how do you feel? Camp's getting ready to come up. We talked about, battles, anything. What battles are maybe in training camp you maybe have your eye on?
Yeah,
What are you maybe looking at camp? What do you have your eye on at training camp this year?
yeah, I think when it comes to training camp, the one thing I will be focusing on heavily is Tyler Guyton's progression. I feel like Tyler Guyton
Okay.
is the most important piece that comes to this
Okay.
team's success, right? Because if he doesn't work, things kind of get out of control. So I really want to see Tyler Guyton take a leap forward. So I really want to see him in preseason. I want him to get all the snaps. It's going to be important. Also the running back room, right? I want it to be open competition. So if it is Miles Sanders that looks better than Deuce Vaughn, then Deuce Vaughn was a cute story, then Deuce Vaughn got to go. Like I don't want no
Hmm.
favoritism. So the running back room would definitely be a position I'll be taking a look at. Linebackers as well. I think that the linebacker core, like I mentioned with Murray, Sanborn, Maris, who's going to be the big two? Because we probably go with two linebackers for the most part. Let's go, go with a base 4-3, but you'll probably go with two. Like who's going to be the two? Who's going to be the Mike? Who's probably going to be your Sam? That'll be the most important pieces. And then also, man, it's just those cornerbacks. Like who is really going to take this opportunity, especially with Diggs being out, Siobhan being out, like who is going to take the guy? And they're going to be tested because they're going to get heavy doses of CD. They're going to get heavy doses of
Hmm.
George Pickens. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I
Hmm.
want to see who is that guy that lined up with George Pickens and went toe-to-toe, or who's that guy that lined up versus CD and went toe-to-toe. I think those are going to be my biggest camp battles I'm going to be focused on. But overall, man, like I'm just, watching the energy, watching Shotty from an offensive perspective, because I hear the shifts, the motions, the tight split. It all sounds good now.
Right, right. I ain't
What I'm
listening to
saying?
that shit. Tuck, I ain't listening to that shit.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I ain't listening. I done heard it too
Shawn
much up
Anderson
in
heard it all
Dallas. I'm
before.
done.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
not listening to that.
Yeah,
Until I
that's
see
it.
it game
The
in,
one
game
thing
out,
about
I'm not
Scotty, I'll
listening.
say he did his research on Cowboys fans because he's saying everything they want to hear. Oh, like he on
We're gonna
Twitter,
be
he got
multiple.
he got
We're
all
gonna
the
be
trending
multiple.
topics. He said, I'm gonna do shifts, motions. I know
We're gonna
Jay Tucker
multiple.
always talking about tempo, so we're gonna do tempo too. We're gonna do all that shit y'all like, and we're gonna change the culture, and we're gonna change the music, and we're gonna run the ball. Like he just got the trending topics, all the hashtags, and he hitting all them bullet points. And people sit back and say, "I just love his interviews." Yeah, because he hitting all them hashtags. So
Yeah,
we'll
all the
sit back
best.
and see. You know what I'm
Please get
saying?
wins. Please get wins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you go out there, let's see how much you love that run game in Philly. We'll see week one how much you really love that run game and that physical. And if you come out there and get stopped and on that first drive and Dak go out there and throw 45 times, Cowboys fans gonna come unglued. You know what I'm saying? So so we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. But I'm excited. I feel like this season gives you a little bit more excitement than last year. Like last year was kind of dull because you called it big.
You
I
already knew.
called it. It just felt like a lame duck year with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
He was
you
set up to
knew.
fail. I 1000% guarantee Cowboys Nation, if Mike McCarthy was still the head coach, he would not got George Pickens. He would have had to go out there with Tober.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying? It'd been like, bro, you got Tober. You know what I'm saying? You got Mingo. Figure
Yeah,
it out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And he would have
And
dealt with it.
yeah, deal with it, right? So I just feel like last year is kind of a lame duck season. So the energy is back. Let's see what they do with it. But they're going to prove themselves. And I think the one thing before we leave big, I say I want to see the Dallas Cowboys be able to fight in their own weight class. Like I get it, Philly, okay, all
Yeah,
right, divisional games. No, can you beat Kansas City? Can you punch up on Detroit? Like,
yeah.
can you punch up on Green Bay? Can you punch up on these other high caliber teams versus just beating on the Giants and splitting with Philly and splitting with Washington here and there? I feel like that's not enough. So if Shotty is brought in here to get us over the hump, I need to see that things are changing. If we lose close ones to Kansas City or lose the fight, right? The continuous fight. I want to see that in Dallas. So we'll see how it all unfolds, man. But I'm excited.
Man, that last part you said if we had any part in this show, dog, that last part what you said was poetry in motion, man. That I don't give a hell about all this other shit. I need to see
Right.
you beat the Kansas Cities,
Right.
beat the Green Bays, beat
Right.
these teams, or at least you coming down to the wire, us looking at us walking away from this game,
Right.
even if it was a loss, like, okay,
Right.
okay,
Right.
I feel good. Like you
Right.
never
Yeah.
feel good about a loss,
Yeah.
but I feel good. Like I like the trajectory of the team when I see that. This
Right.
it's been a while since I've seen that. Even with McCarthy, we
Right.
still didn't win them big games. We didn't
Them
beat up
big
on them.
games, right?
We didn't them big ones. When
Yeah.
everybody know we got to win this one, we
Right.
got to win this one.
You gotta
That's
win it.
done. And
Yeah. Because
and the
even
team would
even
come
like
out
what
flat.
Yeah, it's just we come out flat, you know what I'm saying? Like even with San Francisco, like was it last year we lost to San Francisco?
Yes,
Man, like bro, we
yes,
should have won that. Like, bro, like
bro. That
we
wasn't even the squad.
yeah, that wasn't even a squad. That was a B team. And we still can't beat them. So it's like, all right, that is what we need. And honestly, I know Cowboys fans hate when I say this. This is what Dak Prescott needs, bro. You need some
Oh,
more, you know what I'm
he
saying? Like someone
does.
said, Slay the Dragons, bro. You need some more dragon heads
Yes,
on your mantle
yes.
besides
Slay the
I
dragon.
get the
No,
Father's
oh, that's
Day.
Tom Brady. I don't want to hear about that old ass Tom
Yeah,
Brady thing
yeah.
no
I get the
more.
Father's Day. Dak owns the NFC East,
Yes,
bro. I
yes.
need because that's what the Joe
Talk
Burrows get.
Tuck.
They got Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe Burrow has a pat head on his mantle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? He has a Lamar Jackson on his like you need a Josh Allen. He doesn't even have a Joe Burrow because he never played against. You need a Joe Burrow, a Pat Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You need those types of guys, a CJ Stroud. Like you need those heads on your mantle, bro. Right now, it's just a bunch of Wentz's and Sam Howells and Kirk Cousins and you know what I'm saying? Like it's time to level up. And sometimes I get it. Your defense might not play well. You might not have the best offensive line. Then that's when you have to be the difference maker. So you might have to run. You know what I'm saying? You might run.
You're speaking real talk. I mean, this is the talk that maybe some people don't want to hear if you're a lover of it, but this is the truth. This is the
Right,
reality. What Tuck is saying is the truth. I mean, it's the total reality. You got to have more. I always talk about slaying a dragon. You feel
right,
me? When
right,
Tom Brady, you slayed that dragon, but
right,
he was 40 something, but you
right.
still slayed him, and I'm
You're right.
happy for that. But no, you need to slay the Mahomes. You need to slay that Mahomes dragon
Right.
this year.
On Thanksgiving
No,
Day, bro.
no,
Like,
bro,
yeah,
that dragon need to be slayed.
right,
I don't want to hear no excuses. We need to
right,
beat Kansas City. Like you need to beat Pat Mahomes, bro.
right,
Like that needs to happen.
right,
Like you just like you said, Tuck. We know about Jalen Hurts and Philly. We don't care about
right,
that no more.
right,
We know about the East. I don't care
right,
about the East. You've been you done played a lot of mediocre quarterbacks in the East. That's
right,
the truth.
right,
That is the truth.
right, right.
And
Yeah.
you need them big wins. And
You
this
need
is
those
the
big
year
wins.
that everybody's saying, oh, this
Right,
schedule, you're going to be playing a gauntlet. Well,
right.
you're the highest paid quarterback. You're the man. And just like you said, I get it about the damn defense or that wasn't the right play call or this and that.
Mhm.
But when you're paid like the franchise and people are looking at you like the franchise, and I've
Right.
seen franchise dogs do it where
Mhm.
everything else breaks down, where they don't got the best situation in
Right.
that game, they find a way. Even
Way
if
to
that
win.
defense is bad, they find a way. They make a big play that
Mhm.
ignites the defense, that
Right.
ignites the team and
Mhm.
makes the defense that might have been playing bad, that quarterback came in there and made a play and ignited the
Right.
team and it played better. That is the truth. And
Right.
that's what we need from our coaches and our quarterback and our team.
Mhm.
Because I said it. You only got a couple years for me, and I ain't hearing that
Right,
shit no
yeah,
more.
bro, and I'm getting it. We didn't blame Kellen, we
I
didn't
ain't listen to
blame
that shit no
Kelly,
more,
we didn't
dog.
blame
I ain't
Dan,
listen
we
no
didn't
more.
blame Mike
All right.
McCarthy,
You
we
feel
didn't
me?
blame the hitch
You running
routes,
out
we
of
didn't blame
excuses,
the
right?
option
You
routes,
feel
we didn't
me?
blame Mike
You feel
Solari,
me?
like, bro, I'm running out.
We done
You
blame
know
a
what I'm
lot of
saying?
things. We done
You
blame.
know, like,
We're
goddamn,
running
bro, like,
out.
I'm running out.
Chuck,
You
we're
know what I'm
running
saying?
out. Chuck,
Yeah,
we're running out. We're
Mike
running out.
Solari, you know what I'm saying? Jeff
We're
Blasco, the
running
running
out.
back coach.
We're running out. Running out. Okay? That's
Yeah,
all I'm saying. We're
yeah,
running out. That's all I'm saying. We're
yeah,
running out.
yeah, bro. So,
But hey, man, I
hey,
really
appreciate
appreciate
you,
you,
dog.
dog. This was awesome for me. I just had been thinking, like, I've been seeing my guys have been doing this for so long, and I have not been doing I had not done a show with you. I've been seeing you just from afar doing that shit with Dez. I'm so
Appreciate it.
happy and just everything. And I was like, let me bring my guy back
Facts.
on here because I really respect your knowledge. I really respect what you bring to the table, your openness, your things that you say that a lot of people are scared to say, but it makes so much sense what you say. And I just really appreciate that voice that you do bring that maybe a lot of people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear from me, but I like you. Your voice is strong, and I like how you do
Appreciate it.
bring it. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And I know you're going to continue what we talked about off air. I know that stuff is going to open up and you're really going to blow with it. But from me to you, I'm glad that you have been in these
Appreciate
cowboy streets and done what you have done and really helped build this thing from afar. And I just want to tell you, I
Appreciate
appreciate you
appreciate
from
you, dog, man. I
myself.
appreciate you setting the standard, man. And it's like, it's one of those things where, like, we kind of just get busy in our lane and just like, damn, bro, I haven't done a show with Big. You know what I'm saying? I don't, think
Right? You
I
know
don't
what
know
I'm
the
saying?
last time I've been on the final word. I don't, but we
Right.
just been working and grinding, right? So
We're
yeah,
busy. Life
it just
happens. And
happens,
I'm like,
man.
nah,
But
I had to.
I've always respected you guys from afar. You know what I'm saying? I'm always your biggest advocate. I got y'all back. But yeah, I really decided that this year, honestly, Big, is that I need to get back to just doing content with the people I enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we know in this game
Mm-hmm.
without saying too much, it can get a little watered down, it can get a little
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But always
Yeah.
remember why we
Yeah.
did this in the first place was because our love of the Cowboys and love of the talking Cowboys with passionate Cowboys fans. So I'm trying to get back to that. I'm working on my new string, getting everything set up. And it's like, yeah, I gotta link in with you, again. You know what I'm saying? There's some people who've done content who stopped doing it back in 2020. I'm about to bring they old ass in, you know what I'm saying? Like bring them back and
Right.
just,
Right. Right.
let's just rock how we used to rock and just have fun again. Talking Dallas Cowboys football, man. That's what it's really all about. So again, bro, I appreciate you for setting the standard of what it is to be a true realist in this community and not be fake and be yourself. You can be impartial. You can praise them when they're doing good and tell them when they're doing bad. It's really that simple. It's not that
Right.
hard. So keep doing your thing, bro, and I appreciate you. So to everyone in the chat as well.
Appreciate you, dog. Well, I'm heading straight off of here because I'm about to go get some food immediately right off here because it's been waiting for me. So I just want to tell you once again, I appreciate you. We be talking outside
Right.
of this anyway. So just continue to do your thing, dog. I'm gonna keep on watching and supporting you in everything you do from afar. And I just thank you taking your time for us for to be able to kick it. I had a great time, and I just had a this made
Facts.
my day.
Facts.
And I just appreciate you, dog. And I'm definitely keep up with you. Say hello to wifey. Congratulations on your
Thank you.
anniversary,
Thank
all
you.
that
Thank
good
you.
stuff. Your kids in the streets doing their
Yeah,
damn
man.
thing. You're a great
Appreciate it.
father.
Yeah, happy
Happy
Father's Day
Father's
as
Day
well,
to you.
bro.
And I just really appreciate you, man. And just don't give a fuck what nobody's saying and just keep doing you because we need people like you
Facts.
out there.
Facts. Likewise.